Hello, hello. N1DBL. Anybody out here? Hello, radio. This is N1 Delta Victor Lima, N1DBL. Anybody out here? Come on, 25 of 8. You should be here by now. N1DBL.
You're the first one, Raymond. N3 or more.
I thought I heard a voice in there. N3 or more. Okay, guess not. N3 or more, standing by.
Radio, KB2ZVP Mobile.
I think I hear a very little weak voice in there, but it's not enough to work yet.
Who's around on 1930 today? Anybody around? Here's KB2ZVP.
I think it was the 3 station.
Randy, how you doing? I'm good. How you doing? All right. This is KC2MGQ. We can hear you. I hear you real well. No trouble copying.
We're starting to hear you now.
Mark, come on.
Good evening. It's so early for me down here. I hear you just fine.
I hear everybody just fine. Everybody's coming in good. Everybody's about an S9 over a 0 floor noise. So simply great conditions tonight so far.
A tuna. Randy, you're obviously in the Mobile. Where are you mobiling at?
Hang on, Mark. Got to pay the toll. Hang on.
Radio. KB2ZVP W2MUR.
He's paying a toll.
He's what?
He's paying a toll.
Oh, he's paying the toll?
Hello, Mike.
Hello, Randy. What's going on?
Just driving down to East Durham. Just got off the thruway at Canajoharie.
I'm trying to pick you up on my beverage antenna. I'm doing my dipole's way better. Canajoharie?
Yeah, hang on. Just a lot of traffic right here at the minute. Just trying to get through working things out here. I'll make a transmission so you can see which one's better. Just got off the thruway, and now I'm on 5S heading east. Okay, heading east on 5S. The back of the pickup truck is toward you. Go ahead.
Very good. You're 5.9 here on the dipole and barely readable on the bog, which is 200 and a little over 200 feet long on the ground.
So that's not doing too good then.
Well, it's easterly. It's actually shooting out easterly from my Radio Shack, and it's terminated with the resistor, with the 230 ohm resistor, or whatever it is.
Well, I should be in the direction of your antenna because I'm east of you.
Right. So I've got, but it varies greatly between the times so far. You know, my noise levels were much quieter on my dipole and much higher on the bog earlier in the day. And as the sun sets, it's getting quieter on my bog and noisier on my dipole.
Because the angle of the dangle is changing.
It's the angle of my dangle, but my dangle is very hard to calculate.
Yeah, it's the way the Skyway works on this fan. The same thing happens here on the beverages.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to track it for the next 2 days, 2 or 3 days on with it terminated. Then I'm going to unterminate it and track it for 3 days and just try to determine which is better. And then the next thing I'm going to do is add maybe another 100 feet and go to 300 feet and then go all the way to 500 feet.
How about that loop? Do you want to use a loop on the ground like somebody got? Like, who was using it? Tim was using it or something?
Yeah, Tim was saying, I bet you the loop on the ground would be fantastic.
I've had experience with one of those.
Yeah, go ahead.
It wasn't exactly on the ground, but it was about 4 foot off the ground, and it worked fabulous. It's basically like having a full-wave loop in the air, except there's less noise.
Well, that sounds like a lot easier to do a loop that way than getting it up high. Could you transmit on it as well?
Well, yeah, you could. You could use your tuner and tweak it in there, but your efficiency for transmit is poo-poo. But you're not using it for transmit.
Well, what I found with the bog is that actually at 200 feet, it's a lot quieter on 80 meters and a little more sensitive on 80 meters than it is on 160 at 200 feet.
Well, that depends on the time of day as well.
Yes, it does. I'm still in kindergarten on this and going to get a little more research.
Yep, I've been messing around with these traveling wave type antennas now for a couple years, and there's a lot of things that you read up on them, and you put it together and you put it on, and you're expecting something, and you get something completely different. I've tried all kinds of different orientations, and you'll get the hang of it. Like any new instrument, you just got to learn how to play it.
Yep, and right now you're real weak on the bog, and you're almost 18 over on the dipole.
That'll change in another half hour.
Yes, it will.
Skywave's got to line up. It's in a state of flux right now.
What transformer do you have on that, Mike?
I got the 4-to-1 from DX.
Okay.
4-to-1 with RG6, and one side's grounded to my 8-foot ground rods near the shack, and then all the way out 200 feet, I've got a 240 ohm resistor to a ground rod out in the field. I could go 1,000 feet out there or more if I wanted to.
It becomes very directional.
Well, I think it's directional when it's terminated and a little more omnidirectional when not.
It's bidirectional. Supposedly, according to the literature, it's bidirectional when it's unterminated.
You know what I was listening to last night was all the beacons below the AM bands. So if you actually look at all the frequency, all the very low frequencies up to where the AM bands start, I'm hearing like 1 million beacons. All these Mariner beacons.
Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah, it was amazing. I never even knew they existed. I had to look them up on the internet to find out what they were even.
What were the beacons for?
I'd love to be able to be in a better location than what I have here, because I'm just, especially this time of the day, I'm just buried in noise, and it's really tough. It calms down in about another half hour or so. It gets much better, but during twilight and as the sun's setting for this band, it's just a real challenge. And once again, 10 meters is open.
Whiskey Golf 2 Echo. Hey,
Hello,
Carl, how you doing?
Hi, Mike. Hello, Randy. Sounds like you're in my neighborhood. And hello, Mark.
40 over, Carl. 40 over in Utica.
Okay, that's what I like to hear. Hey, just for info, you are S9 on my bog, and you're 20 over on the loop, and Mark is S5 on the bog and 10 over on my loop.
You're 40 over on my dipole and S9 on my bog.
Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much the same, I would think. I think you'll find as the evening progresses, the bog will get a little bit better. And like I was telling you there on the phone the other day, I decided to leave mine unterminated. I think it hurt Hersner.
Right. Well, you peaked out at 20 over on my, 10 over on my bog. So yeah, I mean, as it gets darker, everything's come. Like I said, I think the bog gets quieter, and my dipole gets noisier as the sun sets.
That is what I've found as well.
But it's totally opposite during the day.
All about S9 on my MOG, my mobile antenna.
Oh, what is it on the ground? Dragon?
Yeah, well, it's coupled to the ground. Same thing.
Yeah, I was wondering how he was running a beverage into mobile, but I mean, it'd be a little challenging, I guess.
Well, couldn't you lay one out and drag it behind?
Yeah, you could. Until somebody ran over it.
I think you ought to just make a confetti, what they call a confetti antenna, where you kind of you throw out these like little angel hair wires out the back up high, and the wind just keeps them high.
Interesting. Isn't that how spiders propagate when they're very young?
That's right. So, let me, okay, so for all of you out there, listen, okay, this is the new antenna called the confetti antenna, and you use tiny little 30 gauge wires, and you use like about 100 of them, and you stream them out like little streamers.
Oh, that will work just great.
Yeah, put about 500 watts into those.
Hey, Randy, what are you doing in the motherland?
We're going down to East Durham, down in the Catskills.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I used to go by there an awful lot. Isn't that the Irish festival or something going on?
That's where we're going. Yep, that's what's happening tonight, or this weekend.
Okay, and you're going to go take a ride on the Zoom Flume?
No, probably not.
Now, did Maureen go to Buffalo with you today, or?
No, she did not.
But so you came back from Buffalo and then you're driving.
Yeah, we drove out this morning. I went out and helped my son jack the block machine up, get it all ready to be picked up with a big wrecker, and then I drove home, took a shower, had a quick bite to eat, and now we're heading down to East Durham.
So what hotel you staying at? Not what, where? I mean, what kind of hotel you staying at?
Why is that any of your business, Mike?
No, I was just curious. Is it did you like plan it, or did you just kind of do it last minute?
You gotta plan it, Mike. Come on, this is the Irish Music Festival. You can't just do this last minute. What do you think, we're gonna sleep in a tent? Come on.
Well, you never know.
It's been planned for over a year. We've had the hotel. We've had we rented a whole house down there. We got a couple of our friends are coming down, and we've got a house.
Oh, that sounds like a great time.
It will be.
Sounds to me like he's getting a little snippy.
Yeah, he's a little snippy. You know, he's had a hard day driving.
Well, I gotta ask Mike. I mean, why? What do you mean? What kind of hotel am I staying at? What's the name of the hotel? Why? Why do you need to know, Mike?
What was the name of the receptionist?
We're going to come down and visit you.
What's her name, Maureen? Oh, actually it's Maureen. Actually, the receptionist's name is Maureen. Of course, it's at the Irish Music Festival.
Well, when you got an Irish music festival, you got Irish shenanigans. So Carl and I were going to shoot over there and grease the knobs and stuff.
Yeah, put some green food coloring in your beer.
I think maybe that was the whole problem. I don't think he had enough beer to begin with.
Maureen said that when you go to sleep, we're going to come in and dye your hair green.
Very good. The Tootie in there?
Yep, it was. Hello, Randy.
I thought I heard your voice. How are you?
Doing fine, thanks. Hello, everybody.
Evening.
Tootie.
Tootie, tootie, tootie.
Hello. Mike, and Mark in there. Hello.
Don't forget Randy.
I talked to him already. He knows. He's always present.
He's in a grumpy mood.
Randy, we got to get Randy in a better mood, but I think we're going to do it.
Charleston, Four Corners, Carl.
Wow, you could practically drive by my house.
Don't blow his receiver up. I almost tried that.
You know, this is I left this. Oh, there's a bump. I left this thing on the other day, parked right underneath my antenna, and I was on doing a big shootout with Ray. Oh, there goes the amplifier. There we go. So I got to turn my drive down a little bit. I think I got too much drive going. Does this not sound good, Carl? Is it distorted?
Sounds good.
You seemed a little bit, and then you got better. So were you just turning it just then?
No, it was off, then I turned it back on. But okay, I just drove my power down a little bit. How's that?
You're okay. I got you S9 here.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I had this radio on all night long, right underneath the antenna. I mean, the antenna is, 30 feet? So the difference between the antenna and the two antennas is 25 feet, something like that. And I was pounding this thing. I thought, oh, boy, that thing's going to be a pile of junk when I get in there this morning. When I turned the car on, I seen the radio was still on. But it was perfectly fine. Everything was okay.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I mean, I was wailing on it last night. You know, Ray was trying to be bigger than me, so I had to defend my territory.
You two are like two cats in the same house with one litter box.
Oh, so Randy, did you get my text?
I don't know, Mike. I haven't paid attention to my phone, so I guess I probably didn't.
So my legendary ATR 15 is going to a wonderful home.
You sold it?
I sold it.
I thought I told you if you wanted to get rid of that, let me know first.
I didn't remember you saying that.
Yeah, because I'm always trying to buy these things and hang on to them, so if somebody comes in on the net and they need one, I'll have one for them.
Well, no, I sold it to somebody on the net.
Who got it?
Mr. Tim, W3HHM.
That's who I was looking for one for, by the way.
Oh, that's great. So I actually sold a little less than what I bought it for to him, and so I'm pretty excited about it. It's a sad day that my backup tuner's got to go.
Did you sell him a microphone?
When's he going to take it?
We're going to probably try to get together later Sunday.
Oh, okay. I was going to try to get him his feed line all built real soon, because he wants me to build him. He needs, like he says 50 feet of feed line, but probably 70 feet.
Well, if you can, yeah, well, you're going to be tied up all weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm coming home Sunday.
Well, are you coming via direction? Let's see. So you coming towards Syracuse or away from Syracuse? Easterly or westerly?
Mike, what hotel did you stay at last night? And was there funny fumes there?
No. So you're in Catskills. So that means you're going to be coming towards. You'll be coming from the west to home.
Yeah, we're coming from the east, Mike. We're going to come up. We're going to come up from the south to the north, and then we're going to hook a left and go west on the thruway, right past you.
All right. Well, I don't have Catskills down in my mind there.
You coming down here to see Tim, Mike?
Yeah. Well, I'm travel. I'll meet you in the Catskills.
Last night, the static was getting so horrible. I went up and sat on my deck and I watched two big, huge electrical storms go from west to east, north of me, and it was like awesome.
I used to love watching those when I was up on the hill and watch them out there on the vent, whatever out there, you know, out to the west.
Well, that's what I did yesterday.
Yeah, my power went off about 7:30 in the evening, and I watched the sunset, and I didn't understand why my power went off, only because there was not really a lot of weather within a 2-mile range of me, but beyond that, I guess it hit a power station. So my power was off till I woke up about 2. I was listening to Randy sign off around 11, and then I saw the power go back on about 2 in the morning.
Yeah, this is my beverage, 20 gallons.
Did you run your generator?
Nah, I just was too tired to run my generator. I just said my power will go on sooner or later.
Yeah,
I
okay.
got a
You're getting
generator
stronger as
now.
I'm moving
I
away
picked it
from
up
you.
yesterday.
What kind you get?
I bought that 3500 Predator inverter generator from Harbor Freight, and the thing works pretty good. I put the scope on it. The sine wave is perfect, and the frequency was 60.02 hertz.
Well, the Chinese, know how to do it. The only, it's a good thing you bought it now because 25% tariffs will be on that.
Yeah, well, let's just hope it holds out. I put synthetic oil in there and checked it all out. It ran my little portable air compressor, no problem. It runs electric heaters, so I got some plugs. I'm going to rig up the furnace and my water tank to run off it just in case.
Yeah, just what you got to do is put a little sub panel next to your main panel, and with a breaker box, and you plug right into it, and you turn your main power off and turn your sub panel on. My son, who's an electrician, did that for me. Did a great job. Except I don't have my 220, my pump, which runs on 220 water pump. Which runs on 220. I got to add another panel to keep that going because that was the problem last winter when I had to run it. Is I don't have any water, which is not good.
Oh, okay, well, that's not a problem here because my well pump that runs on 220 only exists to fill up a 210-gallon water tank that's in my basement. And the pressure pump that's in there that supplies the house works on 110. And I checked it out today, and it draws 20 amps. So I'm kind of thinking this generator will probably be able to run that.
Yeah, it should do it.
That's a good idea. I mean, I probably should do that myself. Just fill up a little tank behind my barn and feed it from there, or do something in the basement. I don't know if I have enough basement to put that size of a tank in there.
Well, if I'm careful, I could make that 200 gallons last for days.
Why not just run another outlet and then run the pump the way it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
Because my generator's not 220, it's only 110.
So then I would ask the question like Ray asked last night and grill you for a half an hour. Why didn't you buy a real generator?
Well, this question was to Mike. Mike's the one that doesn't have the outlet with the 220 generator.
Well, I've got 8,500 watts that runs everything in my house except the pump. So my son Jason said it was kind of like right on the edge to do it. So he's going to add another sub panel so I can switch back and forth from the from the sub panel to another one. and I can just run my water when I need it, and then switch back and run the rest of the house.
Run into the dryer.
Well, my dryer runs on propane.
Well, you have a 220 outlet anywhere. How about your welder? The welder outlet on the barn, on the garage?
And I've got my only 220 outlet is the range and my amplifier.
Well, you can't actually amplifier outlet. You need that for the amp.
That's right. So I can run the range. I can run my stove. I can run my amplifier. I just can't run my pump, stove, and amplifier all at once. I can run my whole house. The whole house runs. So I got my microwave, my range, heating, everything except my water pump.
We'll turn off the other stuff when you need to use the pump.
Yes, that's what I'm going to do.
But his pump isn't wired. That's what he's saying. His pump was never wired. So why not just put an outlet right next to your panel and just plug into that and feed your whole house?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I could do that.
I mean, unless you're you're a nitwit and you can't remember to shut off your main breaker, there's nothing wrong. Oh, this freaking thing. Unless you forget. Let me turn this thing down.
Yeah, you break on. When you said something about
Mark
being a nitwit,
why not
I wasn't sure if I read all of that.
Your big dryer outlet.
Wait a minute. When did I become a nitwit?
It was like a week ago, last Tuesday, I think.
I need details. I need times. I need documentation.
Come on, Mark. You got my back, Mark.
I mean, if I'm gonna be a nitwit, I'd at least like to get compensated for my nitwit time.
I like how all these insults are flying out today. You know, there must be some. I think there's that RF is affecting the front seat.
I don't know what drugs he's on or he should be on, but man.
Well, I had a long queue with Devin today, Randy. Oh yeah? How was that? Yeah, we started out on 3788, then we moved down to 160. So I'm going down to his house and bring my YL. We're gonna have a party over. Oh, that sounds good. You'll like Devin and his. You haven't met Dev's wife yet, Catherine, right? Negative, I haven't. She's a sweetheart. She's she's way nicer than Devin. Well, she must be nice.
She can sing.
Yeah, I heard that. I put another beverage out. I gave up on that loop I had on the ground, and it's 400 feet at east-west, and the other is 500 north-south. Wait a minute. We're all going to build loops on the ground now because of you saying it was working so well. Triple. I thought the loop was working well. Go ahead, Randy. Hang on a second. Let me retune here. Hang on.
Yeah, we're all getting set to buy all this wire to make loops on the ground, and now they're no good?
Well, loops on the ground are okay, but they're not directional.
Hey, straight up, that's what we need.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what they're good for this group here, but if you're going to be trying to do DX or weak signal off in a distance, they're not going to be very effective for you.
Yeah,
well, what I got's working pretty good right now, so far I'll hang with this.
You know what, I thought we were on 60 meters. I forgot we were on 160. I kept trying to run this thing like it was on 60 meters. Get with the program, Randy.
Yeah, I mean, really?
Well, I've been drinking an awful lot today, so that's probably the problem.
Oh, so you're not driving then?
Oh, no, I'm driving. I'm just being very careful.
Oh, my God. Well, he is on his way to an Irish Fest, so DUI is, I think, one of the requirements.
You should let Maureen drive.
That's why God invented whiskey, to keep the Irish from ruling the world.
Are you south of Albany, Randy? Am I south of Albany?
Yes,
are you south of Albany? Well, I'm not south. I got too many wires here.
You must be in about around by Schoharie about now.
Yeah, that's where we're at, Carl, Schoharie.
Haven't hit Albany yet.
He's not gonna. He's going down to Durham, so he'll be going down through Middleburg and down 145 that way.
Roger. Yeah, I would go down from here the north way and then get on the thruway. Yeah, but that would be out of his way. He's gonna go more of a straight line. That's a nice area out there. That's one of my bike routes to Schoharie, Middleburg, and then to East Cobleskill, Duanesburg, and back to Hannaford and Gilmore.
Stop and see me sometime, Bob.
Yeah, I know you are there. I'll do that. I'll stop in and you can give me a nice beverage.
Yeah, I got some, and then I'd give you the shack tour, the laboratory tour, the whole thing. I could even walk you in the woods if you want.
Sounds great. Hey, so when you left last night, I left right after you because when you saw the lightning up at your place, I think it was about probably 15 minutes. It started hitting close to here, so I shut down, and I'm glad I did because what you saw go by you, it went right by me, and it was pretty spectacular.
Oh yeah, I was watching the lightning just go from like the top of the clouds all around down the outside of it, and it was really a good show.
Yeah, it reminded me of a couple of those scenes from Close Encounters, you know, with all that cloud lighting up and stuff. I go, that was pretty good.
Speaking of Close Encounters, where's Ray?
Hello.
Hello!
Oh, there he is. The Buccaneer has made his appearance.
Speak,
Soon as you mention
and you
it,
shall receive.
So Ray's like Beetlejuice. If we say his name 3 times, he appears.
So, if you say his name 3 times, he gets a real signal.
Yeah, I just found a new oldie station on 1700 kilohertz, and they play really classic oldies.
Do you know where they're located, Ray?
No, I do not. They come in here pretty good. They're like, I don't know, S9. And by the way, this radio has a 20 dB pad on the broadcast band because it goes off at 1705. So if I tune up to 1705, the signal goes up by 20 dB.
Interesting.
Yeah, most radios have pads on the broadcast band. Most of them do. But I didn't know if this one did or not, but it does.
What's a pad? Is that a band, a blocking filter?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. It's a 20 dB pad on the broadcast band, so that way there you don't get any, it's going to stop you from getting any crazy overload stuff.
I was just going to ask why they do that, and, well, you answered my question.
Yeah, really, if you happen to live really close to an AM broadcast station, because they're coupled to the ground, vertically polarized, if you have an antenna like that, you can get a tremendous amount of power coming in the front end of the radio.
Well, I know the one across the river from me here, the big station in Harrisburg, 580, on my beverage on this radio, it gives me about 30 over.
Yeah, 30 over is not on the beverage 30 over. What's it on the loop?
Oh, on the loop, it's like 3 S units.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. It's 30 over on the beverage and 3 on the loop.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why is it so low on the loop?
Loop's too small.
Something's not right. Yeah, there's got to be a pad in there too, because there's no way the loop is not too small to receive AM. You'd have a pretty hefty signal. When you come in that back port there's no attenuator. There's got to be an attenuator. Go up to 1700, tune in 1700, and put the bandwidth as much as you can, and tune up to 1705, and I'll bet you that when you hit 05, the signal goes way up.
Now, I want you to think about what I just told you there, because you quickly came up with an answer to what I just presented to you, and it might not necessarily be right. So I need you to reflect upon what we just discussed for more than 24 hours, and I think you might come up with the answer.
I don't know. All I know is if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying it's an S3 on the loop and it's like 20 over 9 on the beverage. You're talking about coupled to ground or whatever. No, there can't be that much difference. There's something else odd going on there.
Well, when you figure that out and you give me the answer, I'll let you know if you're right or wrong.
Okay. Are you running a preamp when you're on the beverage?
No, don't need to.
Okay.
It's 580 kilocycles, just so you have the frequency in mind. 580.
Yeah, I'll take a fast run to 580 and see if I hear it, because I got 570 programmed. Okay, I'll be right back.
You might hear it this time of the day, but I think they've already gone to low power.
Randy, you dropped off.
Yeah, I get it, and it's coming in fine.
That's about, I'd say maybe 10, 12 air miles to the west of me.
Okay. You're stronger than they are.
Well, I would hope so on this antenna, yeah.
Well, go ahead, everybody. I'm just listening.
Randy's in his mobile and he's grumpy.
Yeah, I'm back.
You're down at Middleburg by now.
We had to stop. There's a lot of wires overhead. We had to stop at Stewart's in, what is this? Schoharie.
Oh, yeah, that's the brand new one they built after the flood.
Roger.
What did you stop for?
Ice cream.
Maureen had to...
Oh, maybe he's hangry. Maybe that was the problem.
Too many wires overhead. Maureen had to trade a couple of...
Snickers really satisfied.
You keep on doubling with them. Can't you hear Randy? What did you say, Randy?
I'll be back in a minute.
Did you do any more work on your antenna, Bob?
Not much except I got enough ladder line made up that I just ran out of time. I had a bunch of stuff going on early in the day, so my next thing, I hope by tonight to have the feed line bag the coax and see how it does with ladder lines. I got a couple of high voltage capacitors I'll put out there, and then run ladder line in through my BT 1500A and see how that works.
You're 30 over here in Utica, New York, W2MUR.
Oh, that's good.
WM4CH.
How you doing, Ray?
There we go. I can talk a little bit now. There's no wires for a couple of seconds.
20 over, Randy.
Thank you, Michael.
20 over. What'd you do? Did you tune everything up?
No, the band's getting better, and I am on the 160 mode now instead of the 60 meter mode, so the amp won't keep cutting out. But with all the wires in town going overhead, it just knocks the amp out, you know.
I'm so used to using my SWR meter before I put the amp on. I'm spoiled. You got it down to a science with the ammeter. I just couldn't do that. Now you use your SWR on your radio first, right? You do 1-to-1 on your radio, and then you click on it, and then you do for maximum current.
Yeah, I just tune my SWR down flat, and I turn on the amplifier.
Yeah, I have this SWR, this Ameritron SWR mobile SWR meter, remote meter that I picked up last year at Dayton. The thing works great, but I got used to it. You know, I got too used to it.
Randy, do you remember when Bruce was tuning up that mobile antenna, that short antenna, and it wasn't wide enough to have the audio?
Yes, I do.
Is it possible your mobile antenna is that narrow?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I mean, if it's really tight that way, that might be why that amp kicks out all the time.
The amp kicks out, Ray, because the antenna couples to the wire, and the SWR goes to bazillion to 1.
His near field on that antenna is so large that if it gets near anything conductive, it detunes it.
I guess so.
I'm going past a sign right now, a road, a speed limit sign. It'll couple to that. You can watch the SWR go up and down.
See, if you were on 1296, that would never happen.
That's called high Q.
When I go on a bridge, when I go over a bridge that's got metal in it, it detunes.
Got 55 elements on 1296.
Okay, Ray.
Yeah.
So I put my beverage on ground antenna out to 230 feet, and so I'm listening to all these beacons below the AM band, things I never even knew existed, you know. So I was listening to all these things, looking them up on the internet, and these are all like Navy beacons, water beacons, Coast Guard beacons. Just amazing how these beacons are so low in frequency.
Mike, how's your beverage working now?
Right now it's very quiet. You're about 20 over on my dipole, and you're S9 on my beverage.
But what's your noise ratio between the two?
Up a bit.
You guys double. Say again, Randy?
What's the noise between the two, and what's your noise ratio? Signal to noise ratio,
like,
Mike.
the beverage is 2 dB better, quieter, like at S5, and my dipole is S7. So what I've noticed is that it's completely inversely proportional. So my beverage is noisier during the day than my dipole, and my dipole is noisier at night, and the beverage is quieter at night.
That's what I have here too.
Doesn't seem to me like it's working right. Your 2S unit's better in noise, and your 2S unit's worse in signal. So I mean, where's the big advantage?
Yeah, right. I mean, this is what I'm trying to evaluate. Right now, I've got it shooting out in an easterly direction with a 240 ohm resistor to a ground rod. So I think Carl mentioned that he found it to be a little bit better with it not grounded. The only thing we both haven't done is I want to add another 100 feet. Once I'm doing like a 3-day study with it terminated at 200 with a 230 ohm resistor terminated, and I'm going to do it 3 days, and then I'm going to take it off and unterminate it for 3 days. Then I'm going to add 100 feet to the 230 and make it 330, see what the difference is, open and terminated, and then I'm going to do 430 and then 530.
My reading would indicate that for a beverage on the ground, 225, 230 feet is the max. Anything more than that, you start to lose.
The reason that you've noticed the difference between day and night operation on your beverage has everything to do with the way the beverage works.
Yeah, because on the AM frequencies, like the broadcast frequencies, at night, the beverage is phenomenal. I mean, just quiet, and it picks up everything in the world. I mean, there's just like, it's hard to even discriminate. There's so many frequencies that it's picking up.
Why am I not where, Randy?
Hang on, too much noise here. Can't hear anybody.
Wow, you came booming in that time.
Hey, I got my Pamela pancake mix.
Oh, really? Did you try it?
No, I didn't try it, but I got it. But I have Better Whole Foods right near me, so that they have all that junk.
You will love it, okay? All you have to do is put a cup of Pamela and how much water they tell you to put in, an egg, a tablespoon of oil, and then you can make enough for about 2 or 3 days. And you can use it to put eggs on. You can use it for sandwiches. It's just fantastic.
Okay, well, what I've been using for make my breakfast stuff is I use flaxseed. I make that flaxseed wrap and do it that way. You know, you know what I had for breakfast at the diner there? Well, you don't know because you weren't there, but it was an omelet, and it was egg, cheese, spinach, and mushroom, and that's what I've been making lately, and those are absolutely delicious.
Yeah, I can imagine they are. I mean, yeah, so imagine that and wrapped up in a pancake. Oh, my gosh, it's so good. And then you can have a little maple syrup as a little reward every couple of days with your coffee. It's fantastic.
Swiss cheese on the omelet, Ray?
Say again, Mark?
Swiss cheese?
No, I use American. I use the Nature's Promise American. Doesn't have any crap in it, and it's nice and creamy.
Try a very good quality baby Swiss cheese with that same combination on your omelet. Then get back to me and tell me how you enjoyed it.
Well, this cheese I had is just really good. It has really nice creamy taste to it. And again, it's Nature's Promise, which doesn't have any of the crap in it.
I gotta head out for a few minutes, guys. I'll be back. AT2.
Oh, good. You're putting out your open wire feed. Excellent.
Yeah, right after my 8:30 net. I'm putting connectors on it now so I can make all the switcheroos.
I think it's time to turn that net over to the other guy.
Yes, I gotta find out what other guy. They're dropping like flies, right?
Well, maybe you ought to think about that too. Okay, well anyway, I'll see you in a while. N1 DVL.
Now, from this point forward in the evening, the beverage antennas really should start to be really turning on pretty good.
I think you guys should listen to Tim. Tim's the world-renowned expert on these type of antennas, and the performance you guys are getting doesn't sound right to me. I mean, if you're 20 over 9 on the loop, the beverage probably should be an 8 or a 9, and the noise should be like a 1 or a 2.
That's right.
Right.
That's what I have here. I got like an S5 on my loop of noise, and it's dead zero on the beverage.
Yeah, I've got to get to that point. I'm not to that point yet.
Yeah, Ray, you got to realize the beverage antennas are real noisy during the sun when the sun's up, but that'll all shift. That noise will go away on the beverage when it gets dark.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. That has to do with the way the beverage works. And until you truly understand how a beverage antenna really works, it just doesn't make any sense, and you're scratching your head.
KA3FDK.
N3 or more.
KB2ZVP mobile.
N1DVL.
Hello, Chris. WG2E.
We're on the mountain of Whiskey Romicus.
Hello, Ross. Hello, Bruce.
Hotel November.
Hey, Ross. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, Randy, I can copy you.
You're doing a great job here. You're 20 over.
Yeah, same to you.
You're like stronger than everybody.
I wonder why that is.
You got a good antenna.
I think he hooked up to his Tesla machine.
He's testing it out.
Yeah, well, no, it's just the antenna inside the steel building, right?
He's sending the waves through the earth, Randy, and they're coming up underneath the road where you are.
I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing it right. I can tell you that. I mean, he's like wicked strong.
So there's a lot of talk of beverages here these days. You know, from the way I understand it, the beverage to be at least, it has to be, to be called a beverage, it has to be at least a wavelength long and preferably 2 wavelengths long.
Not if it's on the ground.
Then it ain't a beverage.
Well, that's what they're calling it.
Yeah, it ain't a beverage if it's on the ground.
Isn't it called a bog?
Yeah, that's short for beverage on ground.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people call them wave antennas, and then if you put a null steering unit on it, they call them steerable wave antennas.
The beverage antenna is one of the many traveling wave type antenna things.
Oh, wait a second. We have the world-renowned expert in here. So, Tim, how long should a beverage on the ground be for this frequency?
Never had one on the ground, and it's not a beverage.
Okay, when you don't put them on the ground, how long should they be?
2 wavelengths.
Yeah, okay. And they should go basically in the direction, towards the direction you want to hear, right?
Roger, roger. Yeah, 1,000 foot makes a good beverage for this band.
They, it depends on how hard you're looking to steer them, if you're looking to steer them at all. If you're going with a 2-wire beverage, you're probably just going to go with 2 one-wave lengths.
Yeah, Roger, I agree with that. You looking at that one WCR steerable beverage?
Yeah, I've had, I used to talk to Mizek. I don't know if he's still around or not. He was an old guy back in the 90s when I was interacting with him.
Yeah, I went to his house one time in Hudson, and he's using a 3/8 inverted L. And he gave me one of his books. I'm trying to find it, but I looked him up on QRZ. He's still there. And I'm going to either call him up or email him and get a couple more of his books over.
Hey, Tim?
Yes?
What happened to your loop experiment?
I got looped. I'm using a 400-foot beverage. Really, it's not a beverage. 400-foot receiving antenna fed with your 4-to-1 balance.
Yeah, but no. We're all talking about putting a loop on the ground. What happened to that test?
It's no good. Try it, but I didn't like it.
Well, can you, I mean, we'd like to get information here. We'd like to pass good information here on this world-famous Toad Harbor Net. Could you enlighten us as to why not to do it?
It don't work.
Well, there you go.
I don't know why it doesn't work, but I lifted it up off the ground about 8 feet. I added another 150 feet. I took that 10-to-1 balun out. I'm using your 4-to-1 in there now. Over.
Okay.
Tim, have you ever hooked up your receive antenna, like your beverage receive port, to a radial ground system?
No.
That would seem to me to work. Wouldn't that work?
I could try it. I could hook it down to my 4-square. I got 25-foot radios. I got 24, 25-foot radios under each vertical.
And they're all tied together?
They are not. They're separate.
Yeah, it'd be interesting just to disconnect the ground from the antenna system and just connect your wire to there. I'll bet you that would work.
I'll give it a try. When it gets daylight, I can see what I'm doing. At least it's not so noisy as it was last night. You know, I wanted something that didn't pick up all that static, and I put up that half-wave wire on the ground, made a loop, fed it with my 10-to-1 balun, and it's right. It didn't pick up the static, but the signal wasn't that very good either.
Yeah, the band's pretty quiet tonight, actually. Very little lightning activity so far.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Nice and quiet.
But that will change in another half hour.
I'm down in the bottom of these valleys here, man. I got mountains on both sides of me. You guys hear me all right?
Sound great.
20 over.
I hear you.
Mark.
20 over 9.
30 over 9.
10 over 9 at Cape Cod.
Yeah, and I'm at the very bottom. Carl knows where I'm at. I'm at the very, very bottom here. And big hills all around me. There goes your theory about getting up on top of the hill.
Well, maybe at the bottom of that, with both sides, that you're actually acting like a parabola and you're at the bottom of the feed like a flashlight lens.
I used to do that down in Fonda. I would talk to Ray along the river, and then I would climb up on top of the hill up in where my house was at 1,200 feet, and I'd go back and forth, and I was always stronger when I was down on Riverside Drive than I was when I was at 1,200 feet.
It's like a waveguide.
Interesting.
Remember those days, Raymond?
I certainly do. Boy, it's beautifully quiet tonight. Where's Tom? Tom, are you in here tonight? KC3 KXB N1 DVL.
Boy, I'm going to wear out this truck today and put on some miles.
Got synthetic oil in?
Oh, yeah. Fresh synthetic oil.
That's good. You'll be all right.
What's the most miles you ever put on a vehicle, Randy?
The very most?
Yeah, before the engine, you had to do some major engine work.
Oh, I was going to say the diesel truck, but I put 4 engines in that. I don't know. I mean, I've got 150,000 with no trouble.
Yeah, that's nothing. I mean, I would think an engine today should go between at least 250, if not even more.
Yeah, the Toyota's got 160,000 on it. My son's Ford pickup truck, that pile of crap's got 380,000 miles on it.
My dad's Town and Country's got 268,000 on it, still runs grid.
What kind of oil does your son use, and what kind of oil do you use, Mark?
Well, Cody uses synthetic oil in all his stuff.
Right. I think if you use synthetic, the range is going to be quite a bit longer. And, Mark, what do you use for oil?
Oh, he uses all synthetic, of course.
You use synthetic, too? Oh, everybody's using synthetic these days.
Well, I mean, it's why wouldn't you? You'd be kind of stupid not to.
I argue this point all the time, but people are so stupid and so cheap it's beyond belief. They think they're saving money or getting a better deal because the oil costs less.
Hey, Ray, do you run across any guys that use recycled oil or reclaimed oil?
Not anymore, but back, 20, 30 years ago, there was a lot of these places that sold recycled oil.
Yeah, we used to save our waste oil for a couple of guys that use it in their cars.
Well, you're replacing engines every 40,000 by anyways. When you were talking about, skimping on oil, just remembered a couple of those guys, just pretty nuts.
So think about this. Nowadays, they have re-refined oil, right? And everybody says, I wouldn't use that. It's used oil. NASCAR, that's all they use. And why do they use it? Because it starts as base oil, and then they re-refine it. Now, what's better? Oil that started out as oil and then was re-refined, or oil that started out as crude and was refined? Okay, so actually nowadays they sell this re-refined oil, and it's far better than than base oil refined once.
Yeah, the ones I was referring to, though, Randy, were the ones that the guys just put it in a big barrel, let all the sediment sent out, and then they skim it off the top.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. Nowadays, they have a new used oil you can buy. It's re-refined. I know what you're talking about, Tootie. That wasn't trying to compare the two.
Yeah, okay. Now, and they've got, there's all kinds of processing stuff. They've got filter technology and other, distillations that they really do it right. So I'm sure there are some real good ones out there. And I thought a lot of the synthetic oils, they're synthesized from natural gas, unless I'm mistaken. I don't know all about it, but I thought I read that, which I thought was kind of interesting.
So you're telling me NASCAR's not using synthetic oil?
It's re-refined oil. They're using re-refined oil.
Is that because they're trying to be green?
I think it is. I think it's trying to promote, I think they're trying to promote that. Get people to use it. Get people to realize it's good to use.
Yeah, they probably tell you they're using it, but they probably don't. I still think the best oil, a lot of people like, AMSOIL? Yeah, I think AMSOIL. What do you think? What do you think's the best, AMSOIL or Mobil 1?
Oh, I don't know, Ray. I don't know. I know AMSOIL has a strong following. I'm in town here. I need to take a break.
Okay.
So, Ray, I found a couple of bottles of rum that I had that I forgot I had.
Okay. So where are they from?
One of them was kind of the official rum of Sailing Regattas, which is Mount Gay rum from Barbados.
Yep, I'm familiar with that.
That's not a bad one. The other one I ran across was I have a big jug of Goslings, the real dark one. I think my brother-in-law gave it to me to make Dark and Stormy. So, and that's not a bad rum either.
Well, I think I've tried both of them, and I still think the Zaya is far, far, far better than those. So next time you go to the Packy, buy yourself a bottle of Zaya rum.
Yeah, I got it written down, and Mark will love this. That's on page 4 of my Ray notes, and so I was going to do it earlier, but I said no. I got to get my open wire feed line connected to my new vertical first, and then when that works, then I'll give myself a treat and go there and get the Zaya rum, and the other one that Russ mentioned one. I have it on my list here. But anyway, yeah, the Gosling is a Bermuda rum, and then your Zaya, and then I'll try to see if I can get the one that Russ mentioned too. So I have my little taste test going on here.
Well, let me know who wins. Hey, can you switch back and forth between your two antennas easily?
No, I can't.
I would love to see an A-B comparison.
Well, tomorrow night, that's my plan, because I'll have the B antenna connected up with the parallel line, the open wire line, and my A antenna on the coax, and so then I'll be able to make an easy switch.
Okay.
It won't really be a one-to-one comparison because the feed lines will be different, but we'll see.
Yeah, but it'll be an antenna. You're talking about your old Helix antenna, helical compared to the new one.
Right. Actually, I could send Deborah out there with a knife switch and a flashlight. We might be able to do it.
AA1LY.
Hello, Roger. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. Looks like the band is nice and quiet this evening.
Roger, please, listen, I don't want to make you angry or anything, but please tell me people don't tell you you have good audio. You almost have no audio at all. It's like nothing.
I haven't heard that before.
Well, I'll just tell you, it's just absolutely horrendous. It's just very, very, very bassy, and you got about 30% audio.
He's coming in good here, Ray. Maybe it's my antenna, but he's almost sounded like an FM station.
Well, not to me. Not to me. Just way, way, way too flat.
30 over.
Yeah, I can hardly hear him.
40 over.
Yeah, but who cares about the signal? We're talking about the audio.
Yeah, there's no drive in that audio. I mean, it's very flat and very, very low.
Oh, I don't know what to say. I'm certainly I'm looking at the spectrum scope, and it's certainly showing enough drive from what I can see here.
Well, doesn't that radio display the pattern on the display like when I'm talking to you? You see my pattern, fairly flat from bass to treble. Yours is all bass. It's all on the bass.
Nice audio, 40 over.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing fairly good dispersion across the display for sure.
Well, you know what? I think half the people in here are trying to piss me off because if they're half these guys are saying you sound good, and I think you sound absolutely horrendous. I mean, horrendous. Roger, you know me. I would never say that to you if it wasn't true. It's just awful. It's just awful. I don't know what else to say. And it's one of those new high-tech radios. There's no way in hell it should sound like that.
Randy agrees with you, Ray. You know, he's you guys have the ear for it.
Well, Randy's out mobile, so in mobile, I mean, I'm surprised he can even understand them.
I have a hard time, but I can't understand why anybody, if anybody else transmits, how do you say it? Listen to Roger and listen to anybody else. Do they sound the same?
No, he's definitely bassy, there's no argument there.
Well, that's the point. I can never hear Roger at my house. And I've called Ray about this on the phone. I said, how well do you hear Roger? I happen to like Roger a great deal, and I'd like to hear what Roger had to say, but I can never hear him because he's never got any audio, and the audio that he has is grossly bassy and grossly unreadable.
No, here we got Pitzer in here,
Please, don't even mention it, Ray. Just listen. Don't even give him the credit.
See over.
Yes, I understand this, but Roger doesn't realize this. Roger's thinking this guy's telling him the truth. He's just in here trying to cause trouble.
Roger knows better.
Okay.
I'm basically staying out of that.
Right. Well, you need a real audio tune-up. That radio's real simple to put two programs into, isn't it?
Loud and clear.
Roger, that radio's real easy to put two programs into, isn't it? You can program one, program two.
I can program the actual mic processor before it goes even into the radio. I can memorize, with digital set points. I just haven't done it yet, but I can do that.
Well, what I was going to say is you leave your audio exactly the way it is, and then you come in here and we'll set it up the way we think you should sound, and just keep the two programs. And then when Randy gets back to his house someday, or tomorrow night or whatever, I'll have him record both of them just exactly the way they're set up and play them back to you, and then you can hear them yourself.
Well, let me do this. I'm going to go on a dummy load here and put the monitor on and to see if I can. I can run shelving filters. I got all kinds of options if I got to do that.
You might be thinking too hard, Roger. You gotta go with the guys on the receive end that know what a radio should sound like. That thing just does not sound even good. Not even close to good. Now that transmission there was 10 times worse. What did you do? Yeah, now you have virtually no audio at all.
I can't hear him at all.
He dropped down by 20 dB, too.
Well, go play with it and see what you come up with.
I want him to put it back the way it was so I could record him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Have him come in tomorrow night and record both A and B and see. Never mind that. Record him and then record me. ROO, go ahead.
Yeah, just want to know how this sounds like IC 7300. I've talked to you guys before, but it's been like over a month.
Give me 1 second. 1 second, okay? I'm trying to do something here.
Roger.
Is ROO?
Roger, Kilo Bravo 1, Romeo Oscar, Terry over here.
Hey, Terry, it's Randy. I'm mobile. KB2 Zulu Victor Papa. I'm in the Catskill Mountains mobile, and you've got ferociously strong readable audio here. Over.
Oh, that's good. I'm only running 100 watts, and I'm in Connecticut over here on the coastline. I got you pretty good in the mobile.
Yeah, you're S7 and really strong and real loud and real, very, very readable. You're as strong as most anybody else on here, stronger than a lot of them.
That's good. I figured a nice quiet night I'd be able to get in without having to have extra help on the wattage. So I've only had this radio for about a week now. I'm still learning it, so I'm coming off of a Flair 3000 to this IC 7300. So I like it.
You got that radio set wrong. That you got it on narrow. You know that how it's got wide, mid, and narrow? Somehow you got it stuck on narrow. Russ, are you here?
Yeah, KC1RS.
Okay, Russ has got a 7300, so he can tell you how to get into the menu and get it back on wide.
You push the function button and it brings up a touch menu, and you just it's the second one on the bottom from the right.
Yeah, it'll be the TBW button.
You guys work it out with him. I'm just about where I gotta go. I'll be back in a little bit once I get landed. KB2ZVP.
Okay, N1DBL.
Okay, I'm on the screen here. My base is at 50%. Treble is at +5. dB wide. Let me see where it's at.
I'm assuming it's on narrow.
I was just reading how China broke the 372-mile mark with trains. We're talking about trains. They got a train that goes 372 miles on a mag lift.
Yeah, why can't we get one?
I don't know. We just can't. Well, because the government subsidizes Amtrak. Amtrak was never. You either got to fully subsidize it or you got to let it go private. So China fully subsidizes. It's all government for China. And here we've got partial government, partial private, and it just doesn't work.
Would you want to be in a train going 372 miles an hour?
In Europe, I would go 250 miles an hour.
Oh, ballsy.
Yeah, you just close your eyes and hope to get to where you got to go.
Would you go in an airplane at 500 miles an hour?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but there's nothing to hit. Would you go on a Dash 8?
All right, how's it if I got it on wide now?
Now it sounds like it's supposed to. Okay.
Like I said, I'm still learning this radio once I get the hang of it.
Much better, much better.
Yeah, it's real easy to press the wrong button on it when you get a new radio like that.
That's all. It's just digging into the menu and finding it. That's all.
So, Mike, you riding those fast trains in Europe, aren't you afraid some religious fanatics not going to blow something up and kill everybody?
That was back in early 2000, so we weren't really too worried about it then, but I'm sure today. You know, my problem was everything moved so fast that you'd have to really be paying attention to everything in German. And then sometimes these smaller stops, I'd have to get out, grab all my luggage, and only have like less than 2 minutes to get my next train. So I'd be like going down these steps, going up the steps. Thought I was going to have a heart attack trying to get my next train.
Yeah, but there, you know, even if you miss that train, there'd be another one coming along pretty soon. Not like around here where they got them trimmed way back, and you miss your train, it's like you got to wait a half a day.
Yeah, it was. I found the fast trains were always going from Germany to France, and then from Belgium to Germany. But there was a couple other trains that were a little slower. But everything was like, and the same thing in South Korea. There was really fast trains in South Korea. I'd take a 1-hour train from Seoul all the way out to the far east coast of Korea, and it reminded you of the Adirondack Mountains. If it wasn't for the ocean, you'd think you were in the Adirondacks.
And what were you doing there?
In South Korea, I was business.
None of yours.
What were you putting up lights?
No, that was automotive back then.
Yeah, all those willow trees in South Korea were lit by Mike.
Yes, I'm sure they have willow trees there.
those are the worst things to grow near your house. If you know anything about plumbing, you know that they just love to get into your sewer line.
Yes, I know some people that really had trouble with that. That's one good thing about a well. You know, you don't have problems with tree roots.
And they grow incredibly fast too.
And they're so messy after a storm, the branches fall out everywhere.
Yeah, I had one. My neighbors, when I was living in Indiana, my neighbors had a couple of them, and they were always having trouble.
If you've got a watershed on your property, like if you've got a high water table on a hillside and it's constantly keeping one end of your property wet, you throw a willow tree in there and it'll just sit there and soak that water up like a sponge. But you just don't want to have them too close to any kind of plumbing or a septic tank or anything like that. Those roots are just crazy and get into everything.
Well, what happens?
If they're in a wet place, yeah, Russ, they're pretty good. But if it dries out, that's what they do. They go looking for water, and they'll keep looking until they find it.
Well, that's the problem. You get these roots that wrap around a weak pipe, and they just find the weakness. So they either get into the pipe through the weakness, rust, or they collapse the pipe altogether.
Well, the older houses were the sewer pipes. They used to use those baked, like I don't know. They were sort of like glazed cinder block looking pipes, real old stuff. You know, that with the slip fit on them, and those things just get wiped out by roots.
Yeah, they were just horrible. Even the cast iron pipes would be very impervious. Now the only thing that resists them now are the PVC pipes that are put in now.
Yeah, the older ones, weren't they kind of a clay base, like a fired clay or something?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a house when I was a kid that had a lot of those, and then I think the more modern ones were the black iron or black cast iron.
Yes, I just had all my sewer pipes in my house switched over from cast iron to PVC.
Yeah, my daughter just went through that. She bought a house and it was all black cast iron, and what was amazing was the buildup in there. Like a 6-inch pipe was down to like a 1/4 inch in the center. It looked like when you see these clogged arteries with plaque, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a disaster waiting to happen for me. This house that I bought is probably built in the late 50s. So those cast iron pipes were here since then. So one of the first things I did is I got a plumber in here, and it wasn't that big of a deal too. So he just got it out and just everything. The only thing that's cast iron is still the pipe that goes from my back of the garage to the actual septic tank.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like with my daughter. She's got city sewage, but it's the one that goes out to the street. But yeah, she did the same thing. And I'll tell you, the PVCs, there won't be any buildup on those. Those will last for the life of it.
What kind of supply pipe you got, Mike?
What's that?
Your supply pipe coming into the house from the street.
Oh, it's actually a well. It's very good quality water coming from the well. It's no sulfur in it, and I filter it as well. But just a deep well, and just thank God it's been a great well. And I feed it with I think it's like 1 inch black PVC and into the basement.
Yeah, I've got poly pipe coming from my well. I had copper for the supply pipe in Florida. But in the development where I lived, when they first built those houses back in the early 70s, they used galvanized supply pipes. And after 25 years, they were just welded closed. You know, they bubbled on the inside of the galvanized pipe and from electrolysis or whatnot. And it was not an unusual sight to see some plumbing outfit at somebody's house digging up the front yard somewhere. Within a few blocks of my house, it was like the most common sight you'd ever see.
Yeah, well, in the well, I don't even know how deep my well is. I mean, when I bought the house, nobody could tell me. The lady that her husband passed away years ago, and he was a professor, she's a teacher, so she'd been by herself for quite a long time, and she didn't know. So I have no idea how deep this pump goes. It's a 220 pump. It's this big 10 gauge wire probably going down to it. I'm imagining that thing's got to weigh a ton to try to pull out.
Call the well company.
You're right. Hey, Ray, guess what?
They have records on all that stuff. Just tell them your address, and they can tell you exactly all the parameters of the well. Yeah, go ahead.
So, guess who's buying the ATR 15?
Who's buying the ATR 15? I have no idea.
So I sold it to. Tim is buying it.
Oh, Tim? Okay.
So he was all excited. I was excited to sell it to him, and we're going to try to meet up on Sunday. So it's pretty exciting. It's a great tuner.
Yeah. What are you using now?
I've got the ATR 30.
Oh, right. Okay.
So the ATR 15 was my backup. Now I'm going to have to, maybe I'll go out buy the HF Auto from Palstar and then use the ATR 30 as a backup. I don't know.
Yeah, then you can, then you can be on the road and talk on your radio.
Yes, and it's remoting, so that's the next step. But I just have no time, man, and no time. I have no time, I want to put up, I barely had time. The bog was so easy to put out. It took me less than an hour. And was in the middle. Of course, I had to pick the rainiest day. It was pouring rain when I did it. And just as I got it out there and tied it into the ground rod, I could hear thunder in the distance, so I had to come all the way back, disconnect everything. And then we had a big thunderstorm yesterday with tornadoes. I lost power. So I got a surge protector put into the 200 amp service that I have for the house. So I did that 4 days ago. So I'm thinking, what would the chances of that lightning hitting and then taking out my just freshly installed surge protector that cost $70? So I gingerly opened my 200 amp service this morning, and just to check, and the green light was still on, which means it's good. This thing handles 25,000 amps. The response time is 1 nanosecond, and clamping voltage is at 600 volts.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I've seen lightning strikes close by my house. You can tell if that thing goes off, because what happens is you'll see the flash, and the second you see the flash, everything goes off in your house, like the TV or the lights go down, just for, probably, 10 milliseconds, and then they come right back on again. That means that thing's shorted to ground.
Right. So I've got my customers, I got a couple customers at Old Forge, so they got some serious lightning there, and then also they're redoing the infrastructure, so they've been running this whole town on generators, a whole bunch of them. Thinking, you got to be kidding me, they're running on generators, right? So if one of those generators goes out of phase, the generators are shut down, it can be like a cascade, So I guess there was a bunch of problems up there. So one of my customers called me up, and sure enough, one of the timers got surged. There were 3 or 4 of the LED lights that were out. I'm surprised it didn't take the whole system out. I had a customer one time. I just put a brand new $12,000 lighting system in. He had $10,000. He had at least $10,000 or $15,000 worth of Bose equipment for his house and the pool, and he had Verizon equipment, all kinds of equipment. So this is in South Jersey. So a lightning storm goes in about a week after I put this system in, blows everything up. I mean, direct lightning strike. There was downlighting from trees. Those downlights were blown right out of the trees. I saw low voltage wiring blown right up out of the ground. Transformer's cover was exploded 20, 30 feet away. It was just a total disaster. He lost his Bose system, refrigerators, Verizon routers. I mean, you name it. Everything in his house was just I think he had a claim for like $80 or $90,000.
Yeah, that's a real pain when that happens, boy. That makes a mess. N1 DVL.
KT2D, I'm going to step out for a few minutes, be back in a few. KT2D.
Okay, N1 DVL.
W2MUR. So did you watch the Blacklist yet?
KA3, Tom's call. What's Tom's call?
I'd have to look it up. Did you see the Blacklist yet? Did you watch them?
Yeah, I did. I watched it.
Did you see the final finale?
I did.
What'd you think?
Well, I don't know. Did she stab him, or did she give him some kind of a drug?
It was some kind of a drug.
You think it was a drug?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow. Pretty weird. But that means her mother's still alive.
Yeah. So you saw the mother.
Right. Yeah. So that'd be that show. They have great writers. They just have the greatest writers.
Yeah. No. There was a needle into him, and then. Yeah, so it was amazing. I knew she was around. I knew she was going to show up.
Wow, wow. So, listen, let's see if I understand this, because that show is really hard to follow. So, Raymond Reddington is really the other Russian spy, right?
Right. So what's her name's the mother, Catalina, whatever. Raymond Reddington, his former name, they were kind of like lovers, right? And so Raymond Reddington died, so he assumed his identity. And then they had the FBI girl. What's her name?
Right. But so the FBI girl, the Ray Reddington that's alive, that, the guy that's in the show, that's not her real father.
No, but he was, because the real father died, but he kind of assumed that role because he was in love with Katerina.
Right, but so are we sure that he's not the real father?
Not totally.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, I thought they had a DNA test and it didn't come out that he was the father.
Yeah, those could have been doctored.
Well, of course they could.
Well, the other thing I'm thinking about, that tech guy, the Jewish tech guy?
The Jewish tech guy. He's not Jewish, I don't think, and I think he's Iranian or something.
Oh yeah, maybe. So he's a really nice tech guy that was in love with the Israeli woman, right?
Right.
And she had a brain tumor, so she kind of went away, and the Israeli Mossad were trying to kill her, but she got away, and she's like totally off the grid. My prediction is that she's going to come back and somehow be reintroduced.
I hope so. I liked her.
Yeah, they were a great couple too. So my prediction is that she goes somewhere and gets an operation, and she's recovered, and then she comes back in, and they get back together again. Because as far as he's concerned, she's gone forever.
Do you want to start writing for the show?
I would love to write for this show. I think I could really write some. I couldn't do it by myself, but I could definitely contribute.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's truly amazing what those writers come up with.
I mean, that's got to be the greatest job in the world, to be in there with like 5 writers, and you guys just start storyboarding what you want to do. And man, can you imagine the creativity?
Well, they're the ones that make all those shows great.
Except Seinfeld, which is a show about nothing.
That was a great show.
And the greatest, that producer, what was the producer's name? The guy with the bald head, I can't remember his name now.
I don't know.
He is funny, and I've seen several interviews of him. He's hysterical. He's the guy that actually does a great print of Bernie Sanders.
I think old Bernie's losing it. I think he's just all done. If he can't beat Biden, he's just useless.
Biden is just really dumb. I mean, the guy said the other day he was just babbling. He goes, "Oh, China's not a China's not a competitor. They can't even figure out how to do separate the East from the West, or the West from the East. And we don't have anything to worry about China." Just babbling on. He had no idea what he was talking about. It was just embarrassing.
Well, have you seen Nancy Pelosi lately? She's gone. She's got Alzheimer's, or she's on her way to it. She's shot.
For the Speaker of the House, think about it. The Speaker of the House of the United States Representative to say that the President of the United States was engaged in a cover-up. It just boggles the mind.
The entire Democratic Party is terrified to literal death, because when Trump declassifies, which he did, he declassified all that stuff, and everybody sees what's really been going on. I can only hope that the people that vote Democratic, that virtually are dumber than stumps, finally see the light, because it's going to all come out. Because when Hillary failed to be elected to the presidency, all those people's lives were in jeopardy, and they still thought they could get away with it by doing what they did. And now they're not going to get away with it, and a lot of them are going to really be screwed, which is exactly what they deserve.
Well, the thing is that the only way that the media will report this is if the grand jury actually, which they have a prosecutor now already appointed, some kind of a Connecticut prosecutor of some kind who's been in prosecuting for years and years and years, prosecuted the mafia and the organized crime groups. But anyway, he's got already grand juries going. So if the grand jury finds that there's evidence to indict, that's the only way that the media is going to report anything. Other than that, the media is not going to report it. They're just the media is just another arm of the Democrat or the Liberal Party. It's just another arm of the Democratic Party. They're going to just cover for them forever. So unless there's an indictment, you're not going to hear anything about it.
A lot of those media people are probably involved in this whole thing.
Oh, they aren't probably. They absolutely are. But you'll never get any indictments out of those guys because of the First Amendment. Forget about that. The only indictments you're going to see are going to be the ones that fraudulently signed the FISA warrant based on a fraudulent Steele dossier. Even Steele himself admitted that the dossier was a total fraud. So, just people, because you had the media for the last 2 years programming, the whole American country, on CNN and Facebook and everything else, everybody has been programmed to believe a lie, and even when Mueller comes out with his report saying that there's no collusion and everybody else involved says there's no collusion, it takes a long time for that to get out. What was it, 34%? There's 34% of Americans believe that there was no collusion, but they don't realize that the Hillary campaign and the Democratic Party were the ones that bought the intelligence from the Steele dossier that actually perpetuated this whole coup, or whatever you want to call it, this whole fraud.
Well, I don't know what to say. All I can say is most people should hang their head in shame for being so totally unaware of what goes on in their lives.
W2MUR.
N1DVL. Go ahead. If somebody else pick it up, we're done.
Yeah, well, you got to think about it. Everything that woman done ever since she was into politics with her husband has come under scrutiny. Everything.
Well, hopefully she's going to be one of the people who go to jail.
She certainly belongs there.
There's people that would still love to see her president.
Oh, they got rocks in their heads.
Yeah, they certainly do.
So actually, I think it'd be easier I want to change subject real quick, technically. I'm going to try a full loop around my property, which would be on the ground. Full loop on the ground fed with open wire on the ground, and see how the noise levels are on that.
Well, you heard what everybody said. The noise is going to be low at night and high during the day on a ground antenna.
Well, that's on a bog, with a 4-to-1 balun. But I would be running it, with a open line feed into a 1-to-1 balun.
Well, whatever. Good luck.
Good luck.
I just think if the transmitting station has good audio and a good amplifier and a good antenna, you're going to hear them.
Yeah, well, even now, I mean, my bog is not impressive at this point. Noise levels are lower, but signal levels are lower because you got to remember, I'm terminated. So, in fact, Carl operates his non-terminated. So, I'm going to run mine terminated for the next couple of days, and then I'm going to compare it to non-terminated, and then I'm going to add 100 feet length to it, and all the way up to 1,000, and see what the differences are. So it's going to be like every 3 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 times 3, 15-day to 20-day experiment.
KC3, KXB. Are you in yet, Tom?
How about Good Mike? Is Good Mike in there?
Yeah, we haven't heard Good Mike in a couple of nights, have we?
No, we have not. I got to text him.
Bruce, why don't you give us a dissertation on what's going on?
Shut the amplifier off.
Oh, that's okay. You're 20 over 9 to me. I can hear you with no problem.
Mike, your experiment that you're doing, are you going to document this? You're going to write down numbers and things like that?
Yes. For instance, here's what I've written so far. Okay, so I'm comparing my receive antenna, which is 230 feet long. The one side's 4-to-1 balun, half of the balun's grounded to an 8-foot, actually 4 8-foot rods. It's fed with RG6 quad, double shielded, and the other side of that goes easterly, and it's grounded to another 8-foot rod with a 240 ohm resistor. So I'm running that now. See, at 5:40 in the evening, noise levels were 5 on the receive antenna, 3 on the dipole. So the dipole was quieter at 5:40. So at 7:25, the receive antenna was 9. At 7:25, 9. S9 on noise and 6.5 on noise for the dipole. So the dipole is still quieter. So now, though, noise levels on the receive antenna are like S4, and the dipole is like an S8 or S9. So the dipole is noisier, and the receive antenna is much quieter. So, but I'm also noting, different calls and signal levels and where they're located. And so I want to kind of do that to guys that are on every night. And then I want to compare that in 3 days and then unterminate it and compare it for 3 days.
I guess the signal to noise numbers are good ones. It would be predominant. Now, how on the far end, you're terminating it through a resistor to a ground pin, and on the feed end you have some sort of a transformer.
Yeah, I have a 4-to-1 transformer, non-inductive. It's decoupled. It's a 4-to-1 transformer that's made for this, and one side of the transformer is ground, the other side feeds the antenna, and then the input is fed by RG6.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to eliminate that transformer and bring it right into the shack and run it through a tuner and tune it up so you can peak it and see what the difference is.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about, but I just sold my tuner on Sunday, so maybe I'll try to do that tomorrow just while I have it.
You sold your tuner?
Well, no, my backup tuner. Sorry, backup tuner. Because my dipole is you going through the HR30, and my receive antenna is not going through any tuner at all. It's going directly into the receive antenna port of the 7610. So I was going to use the ATR the 15, my backup tuner, for the BOG, and do what you were just saying. But I'm going to be saying goodbye to the backup tuner on Sunday, so maybe I'll try that tomorrow night.
Hang on one second. Roger, is that you in there testing into a dummy load or something? Who said 1, 2, 3?
I'm back, and it wasn't me, KT2D.
Okay, yeah, I hear. I thought it was Roger, maybe transmitting into a dummy load or something. Okay, so did you run to the Packy real quick and buy that bottle of Zaya, 12-year-old Zaya?
No, I didn't do that. I just went upstairs and had a shot of Jägermeister.
Oh my God! Oh, wait a second. I'm taken away, Jägermeister. Oh.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's not many people appreciate it. I remember when my first tour in Germany, that's how I got introduced to it. So it's just kind of a traditional thing for me. But most of my friends think it tastes about what they would envision kerosene tastes like.
It kind of tastes like a foul cough medicine.
That's about the closest description. It's like a really nasty, old-fashioned cough medicine.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know if I have much faith in your. All I can say is try the Zaya rum, and if you come back and tell me it's the best rum you ever had, you still have a chance.
Jan looked for it today at the package store. They didn't have it.
Pick it up tomorrow. I'm going to go to my store. They have just about everything.
You know what I had tonight for dinner? I had a T-bone steak. One of those the good ones though, not the cheap ones. The what's that? The grass-fed. What's the other term for those?
Angus.
Yeah, Angus grass-fed T-bone steak with sautéed mushrooms, which I do a few days in advance, and I put a whole bunch of stuff in the mushrooms, and I sauté them in a nice pan, and then I put them in the refrigerator. They're also the ones I use on my breakfast sandwich. So I had the steak smothered in the sautéed mushrooms. Then I had fresh yellow squash, and I actually made some polenta or cornmeal mush to go with it all. Now, how's that for a dinner? And, of course, I was sipping on my rum drink.
Sounds like you're the lord of the manor.
I was going to say, if I went to a restaurant, that would have cost me, $60, $70.
Oh, yeah, easy.
And I'll tell you, it was good. It was good. I'm a great. Even my ex-wife said the best steak she ever had. I cook them on the grill. I take the steak and I rub them with garlic salt, garlic. No, excuse me. I use garlic, granulated garlic, a little salt, pepper, and some dark vinegar there, that balsamic vinegar, and I rub that right into the meat, and then I grill that baby up there, medium rare. Oh my God, is that good?
So what'd you saute your mushrooms with?
Oh boy, I do a lot with those. Let's say I put them in the pan. I start them with coconut oil, and then I put some garlic, granulated garlic, white pepper, and some really good, high-quality beef face and vermouth, and I saute them down until that sauce is just about, not dry, but pretty much gone. And that probably takes, I'm guessing that probably takes 30 to 45 minutes anyway. And I just let them cool off, and I put them in the refrigerator, and away you go.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I don't do anything nearly that involved because I'm just a neophyte, so I usually do them with a little bit of mushrooms and onions and olive oil and maybe a little garlic with it, and that seems to be pretty good. But that sounds good the way you do it. Sounds better, actually.
That breakfast dish I had up there at the Moonlight, the Misty Moonlight, that was one of the best meals I ever had. I was really impressed with that. So I came back and I learned how to make it. And the first one I made was just fabulous. It was just like the one they had. And the second one, I put too many mushrooms in. You got to be really careful with the mushrooms because the mushrooms overwhelm the taste of the egg. So what I did, of course, and I don't use yolk, so that was egg. I used like 4 egg whites. You just throw it in a pan. I put some a little bit of salt and white pepper on it again, and I give it a little bit of garlic, a little bit of granulated garlic, not overwhelming, just a little tiny bit. And then I put the mushrooms up the middle of that, light on the mushrooms, lots of the spinach, lots of fresh spinach, and then I put the lid on that and I cook it until it's almost done, and then I throw 2 slices of that really good American cheese on there, and then fold it up just like they did, and boy, that is just great.
American cheese.
Yeah, American cheese, believe me, American. I tried provolone, and that was no good. But the American cheese, this Nature's Promise American cheese, which is made without any chemical stuff, it's really good, and it's really creamy. It has a real creamy taste to it when you melt it like that. Just excellent.
I use this regular shredded taco cheese, 4 cheeses.
Yeah, I don't know. That might be a little much for the egg. An egg is a very delicate taste. You don't want to overwhelm the nice egg taste.
I've been going with the poached eggs every day on those Pamela pancakes, man. They're fantastic.
Yeah, I love a poached egg, but I don't eat egg yolks anymore. I never eat egg yolks.
There's nothing wrong with egg yolks. There's a lot of misconceptions about those.
Don't believe the lie. Egg yolks are the worst thing you can possibly eat. They have 1 egg yolk is the maximum amount of cholesterol you should have in one day. So if I have like 4 eggs in that omelet, 3 or 4 eggs, that would be an overwhelming amount of cholesterol. Where if you get rid of the yolks, there's no cholesterol.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I love a good poached egg. They're hard to beat. I've always liked them.
My favorite breakfast is? You make some really good home-fried potatoes, and then you put them aside, keep them nice and warm on a plate in the oven or in a small toaster oven, and then you do sunny-side-up eggs, probably 4 or 5 sunny-side-up eggs, and you're over easy. You got to have a really good pan. You flip them over. You don't want to break them. You just over real easy, and then you throw them right on top of the potatoes, and you mash them all together. That was my favorite breakfast, but like I said, I don't eat yolks anymore.
maybe I'll give that one a shot tomorrow.
I used to make home fried potatoes with sweet onions cooked in them, and then I'd fry up the sausage with peppers and onions in them. And then I don't know if you ever heard of coffee sodas. You have that with a coffee soda. It's like the best meal of all time. Yeah, the Mayan sweets, whatever. White onion will do in a pinch.
Well, give me wait. Well, what's the coffee thing, or what was that thing you called it? I never heard of it. Tell me what it is.
Well, they're called Manhattan Specials. You get them around New York. They had them in the delis down in Florida because all the New Yorkers down there. It was like New York Junior down there. I first ran into them out west. A friend of mine was from New York, and he introduced me to them. It's carbonated coffee, and it's an acquired taste, but boy, are they good. Whenever I find them, I always buy them.
That's nitrogen coffee.
Nitrogen coffee, huh? No, I never tried it. Next time I go to Northampton, I'll see if they have a fancy coffee place up there. What is it called again?
Manhattan Specials.
That's what they call it, Manhattan Special?
Yeah, that's the name of the company. They got and it's basically like a carbonated espresso coffee. It'll weld your eyes open. It's good stuff. And they've got like sugar-free variants and all that, but the Manhattan Specials are really good. They're not everybody's taste, but I like them. I for some reason they just take me back to when I was like 22.
Wow, that's way back. What was that, back about 1940?
No, 1980 maybe, 79, 80.
So Bob, why can't you switch from your coil antenna to the other one? Do you use the coax from that?
Yeah, I just have one. I'm just sharing that feed line. That's all.
Well, you mean you took it off one antenna and put it on the other?
Right.
Yeah, okay, because whenever I do an antenna test, well, of course, the trouble with this band is trying to test two antennas on the same piece of property is really problematic because you always have interaction between them. So I don't think you ever really know exactly what's going on. But the thing is, it would be interesting to have them hooked up at the same time and just AB, and see if one is actually better than the other.
Yeah, I could do it. It wouldn't be quick. There'd be like a 10-minute lag in between them, and that way, we could do it with the same feed line. But yeah.
No, but I mean hook up two feed lines at the same time and screw them right to the back of the radio and just hit the antenna 1, antenna 2.
Yeah, no, that's what I plan to do tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, well, that'll be interesting and see, because I don't really see an improvement. I'm just not seeing an improvement in this antenna you're on.
Well, I'm just on the helically wound vertical.
Oh, well, that's why. Okay, that answers that question.
Yeah, the other night I had both of them hooked up, which was just an odd thing, and so we'll see.
So Ray, have you heard of Haggis?
I've heard of it, yeah. I've heard it on one of the TV shows there on the Hallmark Channel. It's Haggis. Isn't that like some kind of an eel?
No, it's a stomach. It's like a sheep stomach, and it's fantastic. I had the breakfast over in Ireland, and it was Absolutely fantastic, most unbelievable. It was in Shannon, Ireland, in 2 years ago. Now 16, and 17, and it was like the most unbelievable breakfast I've ever had in my life. And I had actually a glass of Guinness with it, which is the first time I've ever had Guinness for breakfast. It was the most unbelievable breakfast I've ever had. It was haggis, eggs, a little thing of potatoes, like shredded potatoes, and I can't remember what, I think bacon or sausage with it. It was just so good.
My, you're just you really lead an exciting life there, don't you?
No, it was just, I went with some friends over to Scotland, first time ever, and we spent a couple weeks, and a week and a half in Scotland, and we did some played up at Trump International in Aberdeen, and went up the whole east coast of Scotland. Saw Andrews. We didn't play at Andrews, but we saw it. It was a very cloudy day there. It was beautiful, though, up at Aberdeen. But then after that, we were going to go to Ireland, but we cut our Ireland short because we love Scotland so much. But we just spent one day and actually just overnight in Scotland, and it was like a dream trip. It was fantastic. Two of my best friends went with me.
But I mean, that trip to Israel, all by your lonesome, that's just amazing. I really thought you were going to bring home a little Israeli girl.
I wish I could have. Oh, that would have been awesome. There were so many beautiful girls over there. I mean, I just didn't. I had so much to do, I couldn't even try. And, Tel Aviv, I had dinner there. I had 2 dinners there, and I made like 2 or 3 friends there. They're so friendly, man. It's just great, beautiful girls.
Hey, Bob, are you still listening? Okay, I want you to both hear this. Yesterday, I went into that store to get the Pamela pancake mix, and there was this beautiful young girl there, really, really young. And she was like, I thought she was maybe 18. She ended up being 22 because I was asking her about wine, and I didn't really think she'd know much about wine. I was trying to get some wine without sulfides, and I ended up buying a bottle of wine without sulfides, but it really sucks. It's terrible. And it's not because it doesn't have sulfides. It's because it's just cheap, lousy wine, So anyway, she turns me over to this other girl, and the other girl was, I'm guessing 40-ish, and she was just so nice. I really liked her. So when she checked me out in the end, and I said, hey, I got to ask you a question. I said 2 questions. I said, are you married? She says, no. You have a boyfriend? She goes, well, kind of. I said, kind of? That's what I hear all the time now, kind of. What's kind of? She goes, well, I just got out of a really bad relationship with a guy that used to beat the hell out of me, and I'm dating a new guy. I said, oh, great. I said, well, how about going out with me? I said, come on, we'll go up to Northampton and we'll just go out to dinner or something. She goes, she was sort of like thinking about it. So I said, okay, here's the number 1 question I got to ask first. I said, where are you from? You can't possibly be from around here. This girl was just you could just tell by the personality. So she says, I'm from Texas. And she said, then I moved to somewhere else which wasn't around here, and then she ended up moving here just recently, not too long ago. So I said, well, that answers my question immediately right off the bat. You're just not from around here because the girls from around here are just screwed up, and I said, you just are very nice. Okay, that's girl number 1. Now, girl number 2, which I've met several times before, she is the new manager of a Napa parts store here in East Longmeadow, Mass. Now, I have a close friend of mine that has worked at Napa for 40 years, and he was the manager of that store, but he just couldn't take it anymore, so he went back on the line, and this girl took over as manager. And I've always had my eye on her. She is just like she's just from somewhere else. You know what I mean? You're just somewhere else. So anyway, I was talking to her today, and I know she has a boyfriend. I mean, I wasn't asking her on a date, but I did say to her, I said, man, I'll tell you what. I said, you're really something. You can't be from around here. She goes, no, I'm not. I said, well, where are you from? She goes, I'm from Texas. I said, you're from Texas too? She goes, yeah, I'm from Texas. Then she said I lived, I don't know, somewhere down south for like 5 years, and then she said I moved up here like a year ago because my boyfriend moved up here, and at first I was just going to break up with him, and then I decided to just take the big shot and move up here, and I moved up here with him. So isn't that the point? You know the point I'm trying to make. Anytime I run into a great girl, she's never from around here.
Nope, it sounds like the pattern is well established.
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy. If it wasn't personally happening to me, I would find it very hard to believe.
Well, you know what you have to do, Ray?
Yeah, that's exactly what the girl at Napa told me. She goes, why don't you just move down south for a while? She said, she said, you don't have any ties. Why don't you just hop in your car and go down south and stay down there for a month or two and find yourself a nice girl?
Well, no, find yourself a nice place first, and find yourself a nice, because girls just kind of get the lay of the land. You know, girls are going to be good quality. You go down to Myrtle Beach, you go to South Carolina, you go down to Florida, you can go to North Carolina. There's a million places you can go where you're going to find some companionship, and it's just a matter of stepping out of your comfort zone. You're comfortable where you are. This is where you're used to. It's very difficult. It's going to be very difficult for you to make that move and get out of your comfort zone. But you take that step of faith, man. You're in a perfect position to do it. You've got, your mom's house is sold. You can sell your house, and you're going to be just on top of the world.
Yeah, don't go south of Lake Okeechobee in Florida, though. You'll be, grossly disappointed.
Well, the only reason I bothered saying this to anybody is because, in all honesty, every time you meet an outstanding woman, and any time I run into a girl now that I just think is, wow, this girl is really something, the first question I ask her, where are you from? And they're never, ever, ever, ever from around here. Never.
You know what? I always thought, the villages would be horrible to end up in the villages. But my dad went down there a couple of years back, and I had to go down and pick him up. We spent a couple of days down there. That place is nice. I mean, I don't know if I would, I like the ocean. So if I was going to do something, I would like to be like Myrtle Beach or down in New Smyrna or Dayton, Daytona, that area, West Palm Beach, whatever. I like that area down in Florida, but North Carolina, where the Wright brothers were down in what do you call the banks? You guys know.
Yeah, the Outer Banks, Kitty Hawk, and that area, Nags Head.
Yeah, Nags Head, Outer Banks. Yeah, you would absolutely love the Outer Banks. Outer Banks in North Carolina.
Well, I'm waiting for one of you good guys to move down there. That's my cue to get the hell out of here.
I guarantee you, my dream would be to actually work 3 months in New York, 3 months into either Virginia or the Outer Banks area. That there's so much work to do there, and 3 months in Florida, and then take 3 months off. That would be my dream.
Why go to Florida? I don't consider Florida a very great place to live. It's way too hot in the summertime, and it's even in the wintertime it's iffy. Very, very humid, very hot. I think North Carolina, South Carolina, even Georgia, very nice.
Yeah, but think about it. If I do 3 and then 3 off, I get to go to Florida, during the months that it's coolest, and then work in New York when it's hottest, and then North Carolina in the middle. Take 3 months off in the winter.
Well, what are you gonna do for housing? What are you gonna do?
No, I'd keep my base here, pay for my house here. I'd have to, find a cheaper place, apartment, 3 months in those different places. And then hopefully be in a place where I could actually travel 3 months. That would be a dream come true.
Well, travel doesn't seem to bother you much. See, I'm not a big traveler. I was hoping Randy and Maureen would move down to North or South Carolina, and then I'd be right behind them.
Well, you should travel, man. You should try. Okay, so if you thought about your dream trip, where you always dreamed about, but you were never really comfortable going because you're flying and whatever, where would you go?
Tahiti or Bora Bora?
Seriously?
Yeah, I always thought Tahiti. You know who went to Tahiti and never came back?
Who?
The Godfather.
Okay, but that's going like from 0 to 300 miles an hour. But okay, so that I don't know if I would go to Tahiti, Bora Bora, and I travel all over the world. But okay, think about so where would you like to go that would be fascinating from you historically, and the women are great, and everything's great. Where would you like to go?
I have no idea.
I mean, what about like Italy, Ireland, maybe Germany, Europe, Taiwan, not Taiwan, Thailand's fantastic. I've never been to Vietnam. Like South Korea was okay. Taiwan, that was okay. China was terrible. Yeah, so think about it. I mean, Spain is fantastic. I've been there once. Madrid was unbelievable. I mean, there's so many nice little places in Europe, and generally, like Belgium, like if you like history, just think about, everywhere I went in Europe, women were just wonderful. Everywhere.
It's my bedtime, guys. I'm going to head up. 7-3, KT2D.
Good night, Bob.
Good night, Bob. 73s.
Yep, see you, Mike. Ray, have a good one.
73, Bob, KC1RS.
Okay, Ross, you too, man. Good to talk with you. KT2D.
So tomorrow's the big night, right?
Well, we'll see. We don't know how it'll work, but we'll give it a shot.
Okay, N1DVL.
I guarantee you could take a step of faith and take a trip somewhere. You're going to come back and think it was the greatest thing that ever happened to you.
Yeah, I know. I'm not much of a traveler.
You just got to go with somebody, just some wing guy.
Yeah, I'll probably end up on a Dash 8.
Nah. They don't fly, unless you're going to Africa, they don't fly Dash 8.
Well, they're going to have a hell of a hard time with that airplane because nobody's going to want to fly on it because the two companies that have the majority of those airplanes already said when they go back in service, if you don't want it, if you end up getting a Dash 8 and you don't want it, you'll be able to change your ticket at no additional cost. Nobody's ever going to get on one of those planes again.
Well, you don't understand. People that get on airplanes are like people in politics. They just don't know what's going on. 80% of the people who get on an airplane never even know what kind of airplane they're getting on.
Well, I don't know. I always say I'm usually one step ahead of most people, so I wouldn't be getting my rear end on a Dash 8. Not for 4 or 5 years. If they fly for 4 or 5 years and they don't crack up anymore, then I'd probably get on one.
Okay, so the most important thing, if you're going to fly, you want to make sure you're business class or first class. You got to fly business class. Your first flight cannot be in economy. You want to fly business class. And you want to pick a nice destination, like Europe. You could be over in Europe 6 or 7 hours. I would go to Germany, man. Germany's beautiful. It's comfortable. And you would just love it. You would love it. I'm telling you, if you could take this step of faith and do it, you would come back and you would want everybody on the air to take the trip.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, Russ.
In all my travels, I traveled for work for 9 years. I had 2 experiences that I think is rare for people to experience. I flew on a 737 on its first day in service. I made a connection in Charlotte, and I got on a 737 there. Or no, it was in Raleigh, Durham. And I got on a 737 there that had just gotten delivered to there from the factory. It's first day in service. All right. And then there was another time I was in New York City, and I hailed a cab, and I climbed it, and I was like, wow, this is really a clean cab. And the guy goes, yeah. He goes, this is the first day that this cab has been on the street. And it only had like 35 miles on it. I was like, wow, how crazy is this? Usually you get in them and, and it's like they've been on the bottom of a river for a couple of weeks, right?
That is amazing. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of trip that Ray needs to be on, where he gets like, just that treatment, that treatment. And, there's nothing better. I mean, I used to fly around on these military airplanes, just like you get strapped in. It was the most uncomfortable thing ever. But that business, once you fly like a business class, which I could never afford really, you never want to go back to economy. Is like torture,
What's the difference between, say, economy, business, and first?
So economy, you get into the seat. First of all, some people always like the window. You never, anything over 4 hours, you never get a window, get an aisle. At our age, you got 3 seats, and they're you can't really move. The back of the seat in front of you is like literally only 12 inches from your face, for the most part, unless you get like something up by the bathroom or something. Then you got to smell everybody's sewer, when you're up there. So you don't do that. It's just okay. So economy's just uncomfortable and tight. Business class is just bigger seats and more leg room, and your front of that seat is way like 2 foot in front of you, and you've got a couple other amenities, and the seat goes back a little farther. First class is like being in a bed. Okay, it's like a little cocoon. So you get in the seat, and your seat goes all the way down back, and like it's like a bed. And then you have ladies are waiting on you hand and foot, or attendants, stewards, or whatever, flight attendants. And then you get all these like special movies and all these special drinks and snacks that nobody else gets, and you're just like in a little world, sleeping, and next thing you know, you're at your destination in first class, But
you didn't answer the important question. What would be the difference in money between economy, business, and then first?
Okay, so economy. So say I go to Israel for $800 economy, a round trip. Business class would be probably about $1,800, and first class would be $3,500 to $5,000.
Wow, there's a huge difference in first class, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but if you were just going regional, like say you were flying from BDL to Dallas or something, your economy might be like $200 to $300. Your business would be $300 to $400, and first class might be like $1,000 or $1,100, assuming you even got on a flight that had a first class section.
Yeah, exactly right. And if you fly a lot of times you get upgraded to first class just because you fly a lot.
Yeah, I used to get bumped up to business all the time because I had a gazillion sky miles with everybody, and I used to get a lot of good bumps up to business, especially on flights that didn't have a lot of people on them. And every now and then I'd get bumped up to first class, and I got bumped up to first class one time, and I'm sitting next to this lady, and I don't know who she is, right? She's younger, she looked kind of athletic, and it turns out she was a professional golfer, and like LPGA, and she was like the hot golfer at the time. I can't even remember her name. I don't follow golf at all. And this is going back like 15 years ago. And people kept coming up to her, and there were people with because she was on the cover of like Sports Illustrated or something. They kept coming up to her with magazines to have her sign them and stuff. It was like, and I'm looking at her and I'm like, wow. I said, you seem like you're really an important person. She goes, oh, thank God, somebody that doesn't know who I am.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem with famous people. They hate to fly commercial, but you got to really. The only time I flew private jets were like with my company once in a blue moon. It's just very, very rare. But I mean, and the owners of the company, and even the owners of my company at Cardone Industries, he would never buy jets. He would always charter them, and he would always drool over these jets that were owned. He said, oh, isn't that sexy? I'd love to buy one of them. Here's a guy that owns like a $1.5 billion company, and he just couldn't allow himself to buy his own private jet. But I flew maybe 2 or 3 times. But honestly, I think it was more uncomfortable to fly a private jet than it was flying business class, because when you're in a private jet, you're a little bit uncomfortable. It's not natural. You're with people, in your company that you're not normally with, and you're not really yourself. It's just uncomfortable to me.
Yeah, I had a friend that was a private jet, like an executive jet pilot. He's a ham, and he flew. He was certified in Learjets of all different kinds, and every now and then I used to get to ride in the jump seat with him, and it was pretty nice. I one time he goes, hey, I got the jump seat open on the plane. He goes, I think the guy that was flying in the plane was his family was pretty well to do, and he was a ham, and we kind of knew him. So he asked me if it was cool if I rode in the jump seat, and he goes, yeah, I know him. He's cool, right? Because we did computer stuff together too when he was in college, and so. We flew up I showed up at the airport at 8 o'clock. We jumped on this Learjet. We flew to Dulles and back, and to give you some idea of how efficient it is, we flew out of Fort Lauderdale Executive and to Dulles, turned around and came back after refueling the plane in Dulles, and we left at 8 o'clock, and I was back at home, and I went and in my bed at 11:30.
That's crazy. Yeah, the Learjets are like a fighter jet. I mean, depending on the pilot, and those things are unbelievable. You strap yourself in, man, and you are just like in a fighter jet. It's crazy. I mean, the angle of attack that they take going up to altitude is just crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah, the cockpit area is pretty crowded. You got to climb over a center console, and man, if you're a big guy, you're pretty you're pretty cramped in that thing, depending on which model it is. But it kind of reminded me of flying or when I. Used to go to the aerospace museums and stuff and see these space capsules. It felt almost like I was in a space capsule because you're just really in a tight little area. But they're a lot of fun, and riding in the co-pilot seat. The co-pilot, we had lunch on the way up there, and the co-pilot he said, "Hey, I'm going to go lay down." And I took over the co-pilot seat, and I'm sitting there, and they had serious crosswinds coming into Dulles that night, and man, I'll tell you, the way he crabbed that thing out and straightened it up at just the last second and landed it, I was like, whoa, this is really cool. And they do that in the big commercial planes, but it isn't as noticeable as when you're sitting up front. You see just how much correction you got to do in order to put it down in those kind of winds.
Yeah, you better be a good pilot too.
Yeah, I mean, the crosswinds are unbelievable. They're literally right. Okay, picture an airplane coming straight into the runway, straight. Now picture a crosswind, an airplane turns like a yaw, almost like a 22 to 20, to 30 degree angle, right, from the runway. And they're like that all the way down, just till they land. And just as they land, they correct it. Like not even 25 feet above the runway is when they turn that 30 degrees to zero, and they land it. It just looks like impossible.
I saw one on TV the other day. Not too long, just, I don't know, in the last week or so. And the guy, I swear, he was more than he was probably 30 degrees off the center line until he was just ready to touch, and then he just straightened it out perfect and landed it. It was really impressive.
It did. It really is. I mean, but a lot of those landings, you ruin the tires, either the tire, or you just burn right through the tires. And usually on a landing like that, you got to get new tires put on. It delays the next takeoff, but it doesn't take long to change a tire. But usually it ruins those big tires, and they're expensive. Those tires.
I imagine so. They're like what, 10, 20 ply tires. There's a lot of plies on those, that's for sure. Anyway, I guess I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to see if Tom came in. Tom, did you ever show up KC3KXB on 1DBO? Guess not.
Tom's in his jacuzzi tonight.
I guess he is. Boy, I'll tell you what. He really gets some use out of that thing.
He should get a microphone up to that.
A microphone? The hell with a microphone? A camera?
Oh, no. Yeah, slow scan TV.
No, fast.
I actually, let's see, Tim, W3HM asked me if when I was going to meet him on Sunday with your former antenna tuner, and he wanted to know if I had 2 meter in the car, and I said, nah, that was when I had the Hi-Q in the 7100, I could actually run 2 meter as well. So, but even with 2 meter, you don't hear anybody on. You just don't hear anybody on.
No, 2 meters is, matter of fact, about 5 minutes ago, I turned on the 2 meter FM rig here, and I switched through I have 30 different memories in there, and there wasn't one person talking. That band's just totally dead. Dead.
Think about that. Here it is on a Friday night. When probably amateur radio is most active, and nobody's on 2 meters anywhere on any of these frequencies. That's sad.
Well, that just goes to show you, as soon as the no-code license went through, everything in the VHF was done. That was it. It was just done instantaneously.
It's just the ARRL doesn't have a clue as to ramifications of that.
Well, I guess all these guys wanted to DX the world. That was their idea of fun.
Okay, so you're operating the cross antenna now, right?
Yes.
Seems to be doing well. I don't see that much of an improvement, but it's doing well.
Well, it's the craziest thing. I was talking to Randy about this earlier on the phone, yesterday or whatever. And in reality, if you were to plot that out on the net thing, I don't think there'd be any difference at all in performance between a single dipole and the cross. And just like you pointed out, with a lot of signals, there's no difference at all. But with a lot of signals, there's a huge difference. And one of them is Bruce. I mean, hell, I'd say Bruce is at least 10 dB stronger when I run the crossed antenna. Because when I originally put it up last year, Bruce, I noticed right away, I said, oh, man, you are just way stronger. And then when it broke and I went back to the single thing, his signal went way down. And then the other day, of course, I put it back up again, and bang, his signal's way up again. I mean, hell, he was hitting me 45, almost 50 dB over 9. Just really huge. It's at least 10, if not 15 dB better to him. Now, another place that was a lot better was up to Steve up there in Vermont. His signal was way stronger. Way stronger, like huge. And then like with a lot of guys, it doesn't seem to make much difference. I think with you and most of the people, it's probably 3 dB better. I would think it's somewhere around 3 dB better, but it's not noticeable. But then again, on some people, it's really noticeable.
Well, you're 38 over on an average here, but I think from what you just said, you've got an improvement in the southerly northerly radiation pattern for sure. I mean, big improvement on the north south. So so Bruce is directly south of you, and then the question is going to be if you got Gary back on the line and you compared it, with and without, and you strong even to Gary and going down south, and so I would be surprised if you're, say you stayed on one night and you stayed up, you couldn't sleep, you could probably talk to guys, in the Bahamas and even in the South America if you listen, and some of the islands, so north and south are a lot stronger than east and west.
Well, I'm due south of Ray. His signal's not that much different for me. So Bruce is a lot further east than me. He's actually kind of slewing more towards the east, and in that direction, South America, maybe Brazil, but he hasn't changed that much. I don't think he's more than 1 or 2 dB stronger to me.
The thing is that for 400 miles and under, you get just up and down, sky in all directions for the most part. But then you get beyond that. That's where the tall tale sign is going to be. What's he doing beyond 400 miles?
Well, I don't know. The antenna works better because when I was going head-to-head with Randy last night, I was doing a lot better than normal. Usually Randy was killing me. The other night it was real close.
Yeah, we haven't listened on the SDR over in England either. He used to be the only one of the group that I could hear on the SDR, Ray.
Which SDR?
That's funny. You couldn't hear Randy?
No, of our group, the only the majority of the time I could make out your signal, but it was pretty rare for me to hear anybody else in the group.
Well, flip it on now. How much trouble is it to get it up? See if it works better now.
Yeah, let me look at it here.
Yeah, what SDR do you listen to, Russ?
It's that British, what the heck is the name of that? It's an old British Air Force base. I can't think of the name of it now.
Oh, Mildenhall or Lakenheath?
No, neither of those. I'll find it.
So while he's doing that, answer me this question. Bad Mike. Why did you go to Israel? Did you ever tell us the reason for that?
I just went because there was a little window of opportunity, and I've always wanted to go. My best friend didn't want to go with me, so I ended up going by myself.
I just find that you honestly, you just can't understand. I just can't understand how you could just hop on a plane and go to Israel by yourself. I just find that remarkable.
You were 40 over there. I just felt like you get a desire, and I just have always wanted to go to Israel, and nobody would go with me, and I had this opportunity. I had a lot of miles to burn up, and so I got on an airplane and just did it, man. It just was the greatest thing ever. And I'll tell you, the roads over there are beautiful, and I just had a wonderful time. I did the GPS, that we use today is just as good over there as it is here. So never got lost. I just went I executed my plan perfectly, of what I wanted to do. I didn't have a lot of time to do it. So I got to do everything I wanted to do within that period of time, and it was just wonderful. The only sad thing was I didn't get a chance to go with another individual, you know.
And I think you told me the driver's wheel is on the same side of the car, right?
Yes. Yeah, they're just like here.
So are the roads over there set up just like the roads around here?
Exactly. I mean, you would think, if anything, everybody traveled probably, you know, at an average of 90 miles an hour over there. Was much faster than here. It was almost like the Autobahn. I mean, the people were going anywhere between 90 to 120 miles an hour.
What's the speed limit?
The speed limit's like same as it is here. I didn't see any cops pulling people over, though.
Huh, wow, that's something. Okay, Russ, so what did you find out?
All right, so it's the Hack Green SDR over in England. Unfortunately, it's really noisy there, and there's a lot of crashes. There's like S9 of noise, and with the crashing and everything, the band is 160 is pretty dead there right now. There's just nothing making it through.
So is there another one of those in, say, Arizona or, way far away that way?
Yeah, you could do like a North Dakota, I think there's one in North Dakota, and then there's one in Washington State.
Yeah, Washington State, that's pretty far. Now, it's still light out there, though. You know, it's still light, so you'd have to go the other way.
Yeah, that's true.
You mean to tell me there's no other receivers in Germany or, out that way?
I'm sure there is. Just got to Google them, and I'll look. Maybe Russ and I will look some up, and if it gets quieter, a Hack Green SDR. If it gets quieted down tomorrow, we'll look at that one.
Yeah, it was just, there must be some storms or something, but again, it's just a bad time of the year for DX.
What's involved? Okay, so if you wanted to have your own SDR and everybody comes into it, how does that work?
Russ, I think that was for you.
Yeah, it depends on what the software's doing, but they can call up. You can have network connections into them, and there's so many users that they'll support. And people just connect in, listen to whatever frequency they want to, right? And I know I've got one here, but it's not a very good one. But it actually has I've got software that I can use that you can connect into the SDR over the network and operate it, in that fashion. But you need one of the better ones, and some of the better ones are really expensive. This little, like these little, $100, $200, $300 ones are not going to cut it. You got to get one of the one of these ones that probably costs, like $8,000 or $10,000, and then you could have 100 people using it at a time.
That's amazing to me. I mean, these guys have to be really, really into it to spend that kind of money, and they're not, it's not like we're paying to get into them. That cheap ham is not going to be paying to get into them. I guess that guy just does it out of pure love. W2MUR.
And one DVL.
So tonight I had my backup dinner of shrimp. I buy this frozen shrimp, and anytime I forget to take meat out, I always use that as a backup. Frozen shrimp, and sometimes I'll do the fried rice and shrimp. But tonight, and then tomorrow, I think I'm going to do the sushi rice with the and make some sushi rolls, which are just fantastic, Ray. I mean, you got to learn how to do that, man. It's just, you never feel so good as to have, you know, a little sushi roll and maybe some sake, and then you feel nice and alert, not bogged down. It's just the greatest food ever.
Yeah, until you get flesh-eating bacteria in your croak.
Well, no, that you know, the chances of that happening would be only with the raw fish. So you can have cooked, crab meat, cooked lobster, or imitation crab meat, imitation lobster. You could do shrimp in there. There's a million things you could do in there. You could do just a vegetarian, with just avocado and cucumber and whatever, and it's just, there's a million variations.
So how's the imitation lobster taste?
It's very good. It's just a white fish is all it is. And you just buy it in the supermarket, and it's got a pretty good shelf life, because it's vacuum packed. The minute you open it, then the clock's running, but it tastes great. It tastes fantastic.
Yeah,
So
maybe I'll get myself a nice fillet.
Their own
They have
SDR
those
radio.
nice, Black Angus fillets. They're excellent. I get them all the time. And put a little lobster on that. I bet that with some mushrooms, lobster, and oh my God! Honestly, I should open a restaurant, a little restaurant. You only do like 4 people a night. I actually went to a place like that one time. The most they would take is like 6 people. 6 people. That was it. I think we had 6 or 8. I think we had 8 people, and that's the most they'll take. You set up a time and you go there and they make you dinner. pretty neat, huh? Anyway, I'm going to go to bed, everybody. 7-3. It's been fun. See you later. N1 DBL. Before I go, but Tom, did you ever show up yet? Geez, I don't know. I'd love to know what's going on in that hot tub tonight. Okay, N1 DBL.
All right, Ray, 73s, man. And if you're ever going to eat a nice fillet with lobster, it's like drinking a good scotch. You don't ever want to eat that alone. You got to have somebody over.
Yeah, well, I better find a girl from Texas. That's the only way I'm going to get one.
Whatever, man, but just even if it, just somebody you get along with, anybody, just to have a good conversation with a wonderful meal like that, And you know what? That's another idea for you too, and when you're thinking about your next house, and maybe you think about a little adjoining, something next, a little building next that you could do something like that with.
Yeah, well, that's true. Okay, anyway, I'm going to go. 7-3 and 1 DBL.
Take care. All right, Russ, I'm going to be back. I'm going to just get a cup of coffee or tea here, and I will be back. W2MUR.
All right, Mike. I'm just sitting here on the side. I thought I heard a W2 station in there. Go ahead. I'm copying you pretty clearly there. You're above the noise. I'm getting you at about 10 over S9. I'm in, name here is Russ, Romeo Uniform Sierra Sierra. Call is KC1RS, Kilo Charlie 1 Romeo Sierra. And I'm about 15 miles east of New Haven, Connecticut. You talk about Tim? Oh, okay. I've got you mixed up with someone else. No, I haven't. I haven't heard anybody check in by that call. The person that we talked to is the Whiskey 3 Hotel November. So that's what I thought I heard you say. Sorry. W2LID KC1RS. Yeah, Dawn. You're making it in here. If you had a little bit more wire, you'd be making it in here even better. You're doing 10 over, so you're making the noise. 80-foot wire is a stretch for 160, but if you could sneak some more wire in there, I'd hear you even that much better. So, but you're making it through, and you got pretty readable signal.
W1NJC.
All right, 73's Don. Good talking to you. W2LID KC1RS. I heard a W1 station in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. It's Whiskey 1 November Juliet Charlie. I can hear W2LID. I'm here in Massachusetts, but he's pretty far down, but above the noise. So I would tend to agree. Yeah, if he had a longer piece of wire, I think the efficiency of that antenna would be greatly improved. He's about an S7, but I have a pretty low noise floor tonight. My noise floor is like an S5, so he's above the noise.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he stuck around, but you're making it down here pretty good. Name here is Russ. Yeah, I'm getting you pretty close to 30 over. The signals are up and down a little bit tonight. It's noisy, but you can give him another shout if you want.
Yeah, okay, Russ. I have you peaking like 40 or so over. So yeah, nice signal here. I'm located in Sutton, Mass, just south of Worcester, and band sounds pretty quiet tonight. I'm a little bit surprised. Over.
Well, it's better than last couple of nights. The lightning crashes are way down, but it's been quieter here though.
W2MUR returning.
Hey, Don. He's Whiskey 1 November Juliet Charlie. Give him a shout. He can hear you.
Whiskey 1 November Juliet Charlie. W2MUR here in Holland-Pat, New York. Way in and just faded right out completely.
Okay, Don. Yep. MUR, I hear you too. There's a Whiskey 2. Whiskey 2 Lima India Delta in New Jersey in there. Yeah, I heard you. You're down in the. I don't want to say you're in the noise, but you're close to my noise floor. But I copy you 100%. So W2LID W1NJC. Over. Yeah, maybe you can't hear me.
Yeah, he just tried to contact you there, Don, and I guess you're not hearing him. He's got a really good signal here, but he's just your antenna probably just isn't very doing a very good job of picking up from his direction. He's in Worcester, Mass. All right, Dawn. Thanks for checking into the Toad Harbor net, and you're welcome to check in any time. So, sorry we couldn't get you guys hooked up. KC1RS.
Was he running for an antenna?
Ray, N1SAG. Who cares what he's running for an antenna?
Well, you can't hear him, that's why.
I can't hardly hear you.
He's into his dummy load, I think.
Ray, put your amp on. He's running just probably a few watts. Amps off.
Bad Mike. Do some Trump imitations like, oh, bad Nancy's not right. She hasn't been right lately. I think we talked to him and her and Crying Trunk Schumer, and they weren't doing too good. Over.
Okay, I fixed it. Now, what was that guy in New Jersey or whatever that too? What was he running for an antenna?
He only had like 80 feet of wire. He's operating out of an apartment, so it's compromised for him. He was surprised he was getting out as well as he was.
Yeah, okay, because I think he's been here several times before. That's why I was wondering if it was the same guy. Okay, carry on.
He was, I think he was in Trump Towers with a little attic vertical. Very sad, but he's doing the best. Doing the best.
Hey, Mike.
Ryan Trunk Schumer and Crazy Nancy.
Yeah, Crazy Nancy. She's getting a little senile. I don't understand her. She comes out and she says I'm doing a cover-up. I don't do cover-ups. I don't do it. Don't do it. You trust me on that. And then she expects she's going to come in here and then talk about infrastructure after she says I do a cover-up. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, I've been watching her, and she just hasn't been right lately.
Well, you know why he's saying that, right?
Go ahead.
Well, that's a euphemism for if you're referring to somebody that's a drunk, you say things like that instead of just coming right out and saying, yeah, she was crap-faced and not making any sense. You just say, oh, well, she isn't quite right, but or she's the Botox is getting into her frontal lobe and she's just jabbering like a monkey. I don't know what's wrong with her.
Well, I think she needs intervention by her family. What intervention? I don't even know how to say it. N1SAG.
I don't like the fact that she treated my communications director the way she did. She just lifted her hand up to her and said, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the president. Don't talk. I'm not wasting my time with the help.
Well, it's our own fault, or at least the idiots in San Francisco and the rest of California that tolerate putting people this old into office. They should be in the old folks home, not running the country. I mean, I don't have anything against old people because I'm kind of an old people myself, but I would think that being the Speaker of the House is kind of a high-pressure job. And if you're not capable of handling it, maybe you ought to hang up your spurs and let somebody get in there that can really roll up their sleeves and do some work instead of acting like a drunk-sounding old lady.
Put AOC in there.
Well, yeah, you got to get some young blood in there. AOC, she's on the right wavelength. Yeah, like what's she say? Like, get rid of the cows. You don't want any more cows pooping on the property here because that just and it creates problems with the environment. N1SAG.
He says you got to get rid of cauliflower too because it's racist.
Speaker of the House, it's just the best thing I could ever hope for.
Oh, look, crying Chuck Schumer.
Don't forget about the cauliflower too. We got to get rid of that. It's racist.
My wife loves cauliflower. She bakes it. She does, I don't know, she does tricks with it, and she bakes with cauliflower.
Well, she must be a racist then too.
You got some Nazi cookery going on there in that house. We better put you on a list.
Jawohl.
Why are you filled with so much hate?
Don't. That's great.
Well, you know what's funny? I don't know how much stuff you guys do on the internet, but these crazy people that are on some of these message boards, they're real controversial. They get together and concoct these schemes because they know that newspaper and magazine reporters and stuff are watching them like hawks because of all the controversial stuff they're coming up with on the net. So they're making up stuff to see what sort of outrageous nonsense they can get people to buy into. So, 1 month they'll make up something that drinking milk is a white supremacist, white nationalist symbol. Then the OK symbol, and that's another one that they made up, and they ate that right up. And they come up with something new every month. They got some green frog, they got some clown in a multicolored outfit with red nose, and every time they turn around, they're making these things up and they're laughing themselves to sleep every night because the mainstream press, they're eating this stuff up and putting it out there, and people are gobbling it up like it's the truth, and it's just a big trolling game.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right, because I only drink chocolate milk.
It's all fake news. Fake news. And you know what? Journalists are not journalists anymore. They're lazy. All they do is listen to what Associated Press says, or they're listening to what the Twitter universe says. I've got to use Twitter because it's the only way I can get out to my base.
Me and Melania go to bed every night and we say, look, at least we don't want to listen to that fake news. Let's watch porn.
Melania, Twitter this. I apologize. I was out of line.
Bad Mike, you don't have to work tomorrow?
No work. Well, I'm working around the house, but I do have some things that I got a couple quotes I got to work on, but I am working around the house, and I have to get ready for Sunday.
We have to go to a graduation ceremony tomorrow at Marist College, and rumor has it that crying Chuck Schumer is going to be the speaker.
What's up, Chuck?
Chucky boy, crying Chuck Schumer.
Up, Chuck.
You should bring extra handkerchiefs. So when you walk up to him, just hand him a handkerchief and go, here, this will come in handy later when you're dealing with Trump.
He's going to have his glasses on, down on his nose so he can look down at everybody.
My friends are all telling me don't bring any weapons.
Well, they wouldn't allow weapons in most schools.
Oh, no, if we bring them. You listen, if I was a killer, I would kill him, believe me. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I really wouldn't, but I'm not a killer, so I wouldn't do it.
Oh, Chuck, he's another candidate for the old folks' home.
I'm a pro-lifer. I'm like Ray. Ray, you're a pro-lifer, N1SAG. Ray was in here. Where'd he go?
Went to bed.
No way. It's too early for Ray.
No, especially since Tom's back. He's been looking for you all night, Tom.
He's watching the Hallmark Channel.
All these movie stars are going to jail.
KC3 KXP. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tom.
Go ahead, Tom.
Howdy, Bad Mike.
How you doing? How's the jacuzzi tonight?
How's the what tonight?
Jacuzzi.
I don't know. I took a nap. I worked like a son of a gun around the house here today.
Oh man, we had you. We had you being like a legend tonight. You were in a jacuzzi. You had 2 or 3 women with you, and then you come in and you say, "Well, I just took a nap."
And you were flying an airplane.
Yeah, I was with a couple of women there in the old swimming pool.
How about the, what do you call, the Mile High? Can you get up to that altitude in that aircraft? And can you take a passenger? N1SAG.
Be a 2 MUR.
W1NJC.
Mike, you're about one of the only ones I can hear in here tonight.
What's your noise level down there, Tom?
Noise level is about 9S units, and with crashes, lightning crashes, they're about 20 over.
Tom, you can't hear me, N1SAG. Oh, I got to put up an antenna like Ray's got.
Wow. Can we have a relay? So how much power are you running tonight, Tom?
Well, it doesn't matter how much power is running. If he can't hear me, there's some communications. There's a deficit here.
You know, it's right now my looking at my dipole is running about almost a 10 over noise level, and my beverage antenna is running about a 5, which really the beverage should be a lot quieter than that.
You're 30 over here, Bad Mike.
Okay, you're 25 over here. Tom is almost peaking out at 20.
Go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, like I say, Mike, you're about the only one I can hear tonight.
He's 10 over.
What's your noise level there, Tom?
Noise levels averaging around 9S units, and with the lightning crashes, it's going 20 over.
I gotcha.
Tom, are you copying me, KC1RS?
KC1RS, yes, I heard you.
Yeah, 'cause Dave's been trying to talk to you, and I guess you're not picking him up.
Yeah, well, Russ, you're 40 over. Bad Mike is 20 over, or more, 30 over, and then Tom is at least 10 to 20 over on the peaks, over. I don't think Tom hears me at all.
Yeah, he's down in, southwest Pennsylvania.
Southwest of Erie, Pennsylvania.
That's right. He's almost in West Virginia, a little piece of heaven.
No, he's northwest of Pittsburgh. He's up near Lake Erie.
20 miles from Lake Erie.
20 miles. How far are you from West Virginia?
Oh, over 100 miles.
Gotcha.
90 miles to Pittsburgh, and then whatever Pittsburgh is down to Morgantown.
So, Tom, you're not hearing me at all? Guess not.
That's really rude of him, you know?
Oh, no, it's not him. It's condition.
I'm only teasing.
I mean, Tom's not rude.
Tom doesn't have a rude bone in his body.
Absolutely.
So, Tom, I was doing an estate sale. I was actually going to an estate sale, garage sale the other day, and I saw a camper for sale, like an A-frame, for $1,600. A beautiful, brand new camper that folds flat, but then when it comes up, goes into like an A-frame, and it's got these ends that come out. Got air conditioning in it. It's got a stove in there, a refrigerator, king-size bed, a twin-size bed, and it's all for, the guy was selling it. It was brand new. He just bought it. He bought it for $2,500. He's selling it for $1,650.
Wow. If you need a camper, that would have been a buy.
Yeah, I know. I sent a picture to my boys, thinking they'd be really excited about it, and nobody responded to it. I said, forget this. I mean, I'd use it maybe once in a while, but I was going to buy it, and let them use it, their family. Thought maybe they'd bite onto that, but they didn't.
Roger. I heard you talking about the former bartender from Manhattan. Did you see on the internet the latest thing with her? She wants to outlaw motorcycles?
Oh, yeah, she wants to outlaw, I don't know, is it motorcycles or just the emissions of motorcycles?
No, it was motorcycles. And they had two guys from the Sons of Anarchy said they'd love to have her in the club.
I just got mine running.
Hey, Mike.
Go ahead.
It's as the crow flies to get from where Tom is to the very northern tip of West Virginia is like Tom said, 100 miles, 107 miles to East Liverpool, Ohio, which is the northern tip of West Virginia's northern panhandle. But driving, it's 143 to drive it.
I should know this because I used to work that region in sales. And so I'd leave here and I'd go down through Buffalo, Erie, into Ohio, and go all the way down to Dayton, Cleveland, then Cleveland, then Dayton and Cincinnati, then do a little West Virginia, go down into Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, and West Virginia, man, it's almost like I needed Dramamine in West Virginia. There's so many hills, just nothing but up and down, left and right. It was like I almost felt like I was getting motion sickness when I was driving in West Virginia.
Yeah, my brother used to say if you could take West Virginia and flatten it out like a crumpled up sheet of paper, it'd be twice the size of Texas.
I could believe that.
I worked for a guy, my boss, years ago. He was from West Virginia. He was a great guy. Well, Russ, you're 40 over tonight.
I'm not doing anything special. I try to avoid doing that on the Toad Harbor net. It can only get you in trouble.
Oh, I've been in trouble. I've been kicked off this net.
Oh, I got kicked off the net last night. I think it's like my 8th or 9th time.
Yeah, no, I can't count it. Right, Bad Mike?
That's right. I'm praying to get kicked off. I can't get kicked off no matter how hard I try.
I just got in. Well, who else was in tonight? Randy, Ray? I heard Ray when I got down here. Must have checked out, went to bed. I don't know.
Well, breaking news is Tim, W3H Hotel Mike. Tim is buying my ATR 15 antenna tuner that I bought from Ray. It was my backup tuner. So we're going to sell that to him on Sunday.
Yeah, Tim. I know. Yeah, Tim. He's always got a good signal into here,
Yeah, he's doing great. I mean, that guy's 81 years old.
Oh, he's 10, a little. I'm only 78.
No, you're not.
68. I made a mistake.
I mean, I think you've been drinking some 68 rum or something.
No, we were drinking hard tonight, Mike.
Hey, I don't think he drinks any rum under 151.
Oh, I had that before. No, we had company tonight. They just all left. We just cleaned up. And I got to go to a graduation party tomorrow at Marist College. They're saying that Chuck Schumer is going to be the guest speaker. Over.
Well, you got to get a front seat so you can heckle him.
Throw tomatoes.
Yeah, you're gonna just. I want to hear some stand up, and you're gonna stand up and say, build the wall, build the wall. You start something.
Lock her up.
Lock her up. Oh my God, they'll take you out of there.
I've been watching TV the last couple of days. It's been really entertaining. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Nancy, she's not right. She's been a little crazy, Nancy. I've been watching her.
Yeah, she's not. She's there, but not. She's here, but not all there, as my father used to say. I say, Dad, how you doing? And he goes, I'm here, but not all there.
Well, I think Nancy lost it. That's what Trump said the other day. I think she lost it.
Hey, that congressman from New York, he had some kind of seizure today at some event. So I think Trump's getting to all of them.
Are you talking about crying Chuck Schumer?
No, that Jerry Nadler guy. The one that's sending out like 150 subpoenas a week at everybody that ever heard of the name Trump.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for Nadler to send out all these subpoenas. It's a ton of work. It's very stressful. He fainted because he's just doing too many. It's overloading him, and it's just sad, very sad.
Those are Nadler. He always fought against me, but you know what? I always won.
It's Fat Jerry. I'm sorry to not be politically correct, but I used to call him Fat Jerry. Fat.
Never get along with Fat Jerry. And when I got back into I won the presidency and looked like Fat Jerry's back. Oh my God, I got to deal with him again. I'm trying to get Gary, my buddy, W-A-Y-J-E, and he hasn't done a darn thing. He hasn't got any wires up. He hasn't done anything. I still have his amplifier here, and I'm ready to. I'm going to strangle him. Over.
Oh, we're going to have to send the Toad Harbor Black Ops team.
Yeah, he was here today. I almost wanted to. I told him. I says, look. I says, he says he's too busy this week. I said, there's nothing more important than ham radio, N1SH.
That's right, ham radio. And I'm going to hear it, once I go remote, if I ever do. I was just talking, okay, so I'm going to sell this ATR 15. I'm currently using ATR 30, so it's like, it's a great tuner. So between selling the 15 and selling the 30, then I want to get the HF Auto. Once I get to HF Auto, then I can remote.
Everything's going to auto today. Even Nancy, she's on auto. I've been watching her. I think she's crazy. She's gone crazy on us.
Yeah, she's like she's the richest woman in Congress right now.
They want to investigate my taxes. Oh, wait a minute. If they investigate my taxes, what about Nancy's taxes?
Believe me, if they get my taxes, I'm going to be subpoenaing all of their taxes.
Even crying Chuck.
I want to go down that road.
Even crying Chuck.
Actually, Chuck Schumer, out of all of them, he seems to be the guy that wants to work with Trump.
Are you kidding me? That he's another zipperhead.
But no, he just kind of goes along with Nancy. But I think I get the impression that Schumer wants to do some things with Trump, but his base won't let him do it.
No, he's with the base. He's with all of them. The Green Power and they want to impeach the president. Chuck Schumer, believe me, he's a sponge.
What is it with these people from New York? They just keep re-electing these jerks over and over again. Why doesn't that state divorce itself from Nassau-Suffolk County and Orange County, New York, and because you'd be a red state if you weren't dealing with the likes of 5 boroughs in Staten Island.
Staten Island was the only borough that voted for Trump.
Russ, look at Connecticut with Murphy and Blumenthal. They just keep voting for him.
Because they got a D after their name. If all the Republican Party has to do in Connecticut is sneak up a passage into a law in there that forces them to remove the words Democrat and Republican from all the ballots, and you'd be amazed at how many people will not get reelected next time around.
No, I agree with you there because, I believe the D stands for dummy and the R stands for retarded. And, that's what's going on right now. And it's not actual people. Look, you can look at these guys that are in office today, like Blumenthal, Murphy, Schumer, and Pelosi and all them. I mean, really, you look at them when they come on TV. I mean, TV is a tell-all to me. I mean, you got to be stupid not to be able to figure this out, right?
Well, Blumenthal's he's got an issue with Trump because his family was in New York real estate, and they clashed with Trump over a number of things. And so he never did like him, and he never will like him because they've got this history, right? I got no use for the guy. He's a stolen valor, liar, and to hear him get on the TV and to pronounce anyone else a liar is so hypocritical. That guy should crawl into a hole, cover himself up, and never come back out.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. That Blumenthal, when they say the word obstruction, Blumenthal was like, when I worked at a job down on 15 and 17. Now, Blumenthal owned the business right next door to the job I was on. They wanted to take him, do some reconstruction of this overpass. Well, Blumenthal said, no, you can't do that. His family owns the Empire State Building down there in New York City. So they always fought with Trump, and Jerry Nadler was a big fighter with Trump, and Trump always beat the hell out of Nadler. And Blumenthal, I can't, who ties his shoelaces? I can't believe that guy can, he's never had a real job. He's a lying piece of dung, for him to come, but they always vote for him here in Connecticut. They love it. Him and Murphy. What the hell, Murphy, what the hell did he ever do? He's a snot-nosed little twerp.
Love it.
Via 2MUR.
Yeah, you missed your call in, Dave. I could easily see you sandwiched in between Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity on Fox.
It was a double there with Bad Mike, but yeah, you're right. That's the only show I like is Hannity because he doesn't have any of these liberals on his show. You ever notice that? But Ingram, she'll get these wacko liberals on there to debate with. I can't take that anymore. I can't. I just can't take it. Bad Mike, I can't take it. Bad Nancy's crazy, and Crying Chuck Schumer is just as bad.
It's Nancy and Chuck got to get their stuff together. I'm not going to deal with them until they start solutions and start working on what the American people want. Infrastructure, the wall. Hey, by the way, did you see the wall where the guys dressed up like the wall at the Trump rally?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was great. No more cover-ups. I'm not about cover-ups. I don't do cover-ups. I build walls. That's what I do. I want infrastructure. That's what I do. I'm good at that.
I like building antennas. By the way, this beverage antenna is not really impressing me with it terminated. Not impressing me at all.
You see, you put a beverage antenna up and Nancy didn't like it.
She didn't like it.
How about Chuck Schumer?
Schumer hated it.
He was crying.
Nancy and Chuck were both crying in stereo. Remember quadraphonic?
I've heard of that. What's that?
Remember, no, it was like a big thing back in the 80s, late 70s. Quadraphonic stereo. Speakers. They called it quadraphonic. It was before the real speaker, movie stuff that they did. I can't remember what they called it. Quadraphonic. It was like they quadraphonic radios, quadraphonic speaker systems. It was like a big craze.
I remember all that crap. Yeah, my son was big in that. I put all new panels in the ceiling. He had speakers in the ceiling. He had, it was crazy. But it was a great system, don't get me wrong. He had it all plumbed in right and hooked up right. It worked great, but too complicated, And then I couldn't match the ceiling panels. I went up to Home Depot. All they had was these other ones. They're pretty close. They're white. They look good. But yeah, I remember quadraphonic. And I just have stereo now. I like stereo. I'm only deaf in one ear anyway, so stereo doesn't really help me over.
Yeah, I know. So, my dad is actually losing his hearing on the high-end frequencies. He actually can't hear anything above 4,000 hertz. Might be even a little less. So he's complaining about church, and he can't hear the priest. The priest mumbles. I said, Dad, it's not the priest mumbling. You just can't hear him. I went to service with him to see what he was talking about. I could hear him perfectly. And so I don't know why. I think he might have lost his hearing in the Navy, because guns were going off and just loud things were happening that didn't protect their hearing properly, But the other thing that is a big fad, I think is going to go out, is this high fidelity AM. So if you listen to Albany, for instance, Syracuse even, I think Albany 810 has like high definition AM. The problem with the high definition AM is that you'll hear, if you're close to the station, it's just unbelievable. It's crystal clear. It's like FM. But the minute you get out of range, it'll go from high fidelity to regular to high fidelity to regular, and it's the most annoying thing ever. I wish they'd just play regular AM. I mean, who cares about high fidelity AM? It's just a ill-conceived idea.
Yeah, well, Melania and I didn't like that either. We had that problem down here in D.C. When we came from New York to D.C., they had that high fidelity AM. We didn't like that.
High fidelity, they're a bunch of losers, all of them.
Remember when he was talking about NBC, they got caught lying about something, and he was threatening to pull their broadcast licenses?
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, he's got no control over like MSNBC, right, because they're on cable. But he really could hurt NBC because their parent company is Comcast. If he took his FCC director aside and said, hey, I want you to slow walk all of their FCC applications for all their cable boxes and all their goodies, and I want you to hire extra people to drive around and listen to the noise coming out of all their local amplifiers on all these poles, and I want you to write them up, and I want you to create like a mile-high mound of paperwork for these idiots just to let them know that I'm not happy with them. And I'll guarantee you NBC Universal would be kissing his hind end within a week.
Yeah, but he's not going to do that, because that would be like a dirty trick that the Democrats would do on him. I mean, he's got a whole house full of smart people now, right? I mean, you look at it, they're doing the smart thing, and Jerry Nadler is having a heart attack over all this, right, Bad Mike?
Yes, he is. Sarah Sanders, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she is like the best press secretary I think I can think of, and even from Carter, right? I can remember Carter, Reagan, Bush, the older, Bush the younger, Clinton. I can remember all of them, and she is just unbelievable. She's just amazing.
Yeah, no, she's very bright. And look at her father. Her father's very bright. And I never liked